Careful what you say, we're being recorded. Yeah, I think what happened is I had scanned in the justification because I didn't realize there were copies of the justification in the packet that I got from the school board. So what I sent out to everybody was the warrant articles.
Yep.
And I emailed the justification. That's why I didn't have an electronic copy of the justification, or the warrant articles.
Sorry, I had scanned it in at home, so here we go.
Let me bring up my agenda here.
I think with a tree and outside, this looks like ours.
There we go. Hey, I see you school warrant articles.
There's the Article 3 part that I sent you, the backing that we had, and then there's the article. So there's two things in that.
Right. My Gmail goes right. There we go. Google thingy. And whoops, that's the wrong Google thingy. I've only got 3 Google thingies on this thing, Peg. Don't laugh at me.
Is that all?
You go to Google
See, that will be
something about
the 14th. Okay.
corner.
And it's thinking about it. And while we get this thing, think about it. How about if we open the meeting up at something like 10 minutes after 6? Probably got Facebook lighting up, wanting to know where we're at. And how about if we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and the purpose for tonight's meeting is to, for the Budget Committee to vote on the money warrant articles for the school and for the town. I'm going to try to keep it to that. If we could have a roll call of the members of the Budget Committee, starting from my left with Mr. Brown.
Larry Brown.
Peg Heard,
Dennis Woods.
Humphrey Williams.
Tammy Smith.
Andy Ross and Selectman's Rep.
And Thomas McDougall, Chairman. We have a quorum. And the agenda says we do the town and then the school. Looks like we got us a whole slew of people here from the school. So does the committee have any objection to doing school warrant articles first?
Nope.
And on that note, I'm going back to the computer to bring up the warrant articles so we all know that we're singing off the same page of music. So bear with me for just a moment here. And we're going to try to bring this around so that committee members can see it.
It's fine if it's on it instead of the one.
Around a little bit. And sort of the audience, except for Mr. Sussman there, can see it.
If you can find the on instead of the one in the town warrant articles, I'll give you 50 cents.
More or less.
50 cents, well, that's certainly encouraging.
That's all I have. Hopefully you won't.
All right, so
Do you remember which article it was in?
I did read it.
we'll see if this thing has enough range to work. I'm sitting over here at my Okay, I would ask, in the interest of trying to make it easier for our recording clerk to take minutes, if any questions from the audience or any comments get addressed to the chairman. And for the committee members, if we can try to address questions to the chairman, and again, to try to keep the a little bit cleaner for our recording secretary versus having overlapping conversations. Let's see here. Bring these up on here because that's a little bit far away for me to see. And just a second. You would think somebody that deals with emails all day long, I'd be a little more efficient at this, wouldn't you? But okay, so and come on. Okay, there we go. Using a mouse on this thing and it's hooked up to the other computer doesn't work very well. Okay, we will skip the first article because that doesn't deal with money articles. The second article, shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $10,665,719.59. And with that in numerics, should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $10,792,425.17, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Milton School District or by law or the governing body, or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13 X and XVI to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. And does the board have any questions, comments, concerns? This is the school budget that we had voted on, settled on a couple, 3 weeks ago. The board have any questions, concerns, comments?
I do.
Okay, Humphrey?
I know it was asked that we revisit this by the school board.
Mhm.
And in my opinion, if we revisit it, I think we should be cutting more out of this, not less, because of the fact that even from their meeting on the 8th, it shows that they're gonna have a surplus of over 5% this year, which is basically in line with what I was talking about when we started making cuts. So when we agreed to the cuts here, this was based on a $10,421,000 budget. But if you subtract their 5%, it puts them at around $9.9 million for this year. So that's a heck of an increase to go from $9.9 million to $10.665, in my opinion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Shute.
Do you need to stand up or can I do it from
No,
here?
you can do it from there.
Well,
I think we can all
I
hear
don't
you.
get that because I didn't ask her to revote it. I
Oh.
have not done that. The board did not ask you to do that. So let's clarify that. But one thing I do want to comment after you made your cuts, our board went back and voted that we not recommend your budget 5-0 because of your cut. And we did not ask you to go back and revisit this. I don't know what you heard that.
Well, we got a message to go back and revisit this between
Who
that and
signed
the
it?
business
I don't-
administrator.
Because I did not, we didn't vote on it that I know of.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
all right.
Okay, all right, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board, from the audience on this particular article? And can we have a roll call vote, starting from my left, on,
Would the chair, for the record, just define what the motion is and what vote is asking for? The motion would be for the Budget Committee to approve the operating budget.
yes, as proposed in the,
As
Warrant
proposed,
article.
it being $10,665,719.59. Aye.
No.
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 and chair votes aye. All right, so so what that means is the Budget Committee is not supporting our budget.
Actually, what that means is I believe and I'm only gonna speak for myself. I believe that because we were asked, I'm not saying it was the school board necessarily, that's who I thought it came from, but we were asked to revisit this, and after what I've seen and what I've heard, I believe this could be cutting more. So I believe the $10,665,719.59 is too high.
And I will second that. Not that it was a motion, but I believe that that's,
Yeah.
I voted no on the original one, so.
Yep.
What was the final vote, Tom?
Final vote was 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 5.
Thank you.
Oh, 3.5.
No.
No, oh, you were no.
No, this is, we are in discussion
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
on we are done with the vote. The vote was 5-2.
5-2.
Okay, so we are done with that. We're in
2-5.
discussion of the board itself. And
Yep.
I am asking to be recognized
Oh.
to discuss the general discussion of the board and moving
Okay.
forward from that point.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, which is, I intensely dislike anonymity. If you do not know who asked you to do it. If you do, who was it?
I will pull that up. I'm getting frustrated. I got too many emails.
Okay, well, Mr. Humphrey's looking for that. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious of how much of that surplus is due to grants that were unanticipated, but you can't really know what's going on. So the surplus may be larger in that budget, but the grants that you can't really count on having during the school year that come in help make that surplus return to the town. So I'm just curious of how much of that surplus is due to grants that came in allowing money to go back to the town.
Yes, sir.
0. All grants are funded by the either state or federal, so it's expense per revenue for expense. So it has nothing to do with the other budget.
All right, I have an email.
Yes, sir. Mr.
You
Chief.
posted this meeting as a point to address these warrant articles, to approve or disapprove them.
Yeah.
You're not here to adjust them. I call them a point of order. If you just approve your own budget, that's fine with me. Put it down on there. But you've made your decision what your budget is.
And that's,
And I can tell you right now, I did not vote, and I don't, you can take account of the votes of the members that are here, because none of us asked you to revisit this.
okay, I know, and we're just trying to get a question clarified that one of the members asked one of the other members about what was sent. Mr. Brown.
Thank you. There are two things. They're all the same thing. If you want to have an easy argument, you set up what's called a straw man, and a straw man can be easily knocked down like Wizard of Oz. You pull the stuffing out of him, and he has nothing left to argue with. Another phrase that is used in argument is they call it a stalking horse. A stalking horse is the poor horse which entices the rest of the horses to walk up the avenue of no return. In Concord, for taxes, we always talked about the man behind the tree. He was the one to tax, and the man behind the tree you could never see. I am disturbed that a figure of 5% can be so easily found. I am disturbed that people who spent more months than I have, having come back to the board late, have not seen the expenses that the school district is carrying forward. I'm not arguing with how Humphrey sees his figures, but I am concerned that this 5% does not exist. And if you want a changed budget, you have to fully rescind your action in approving the budget before. And then you have to have a new budget brought forward, and you have to have the exact reason for changes in that budget. Is that what you propose to do?
I actually want to turn around and address that, because I found the email from you that attached the letter from the administration requesting we revisit the budget, is what it says right here. And that,
Now.
I'm just saying, this came from you, and that's why I'm bringing it up.
Verbiage in the email may have been my interpretation.
No,
I may
and
have
that's-
misinterpreted what they had
And
asked
that
for.
may be how this thing got,
So,
because I know we've got all I got is the letter here that shows from the administrative team asking us to restore the budget to what they proposed. So as far as I'm concerned, asking us to restore the budget, plus what you had down there, because you said to revisit the budget, is why I'm bringing this up.
and again, I may have, I had a lot going on. But anyway, that's okay. Did that get your question answered, Mr. Brown, that you had about the letter?
Yeah, again,
And-
there is the difference between the two words revisit and restore.
And-
Both of them are neutral. Neither one of them says cut more out. I believe, and Nate, you, if I may, bring him into the conversation. I was bothered, not being that clever for encumbrances, where encumbrances for the year, for the entire school year, up through June 30th of this year, can be encumbered on financial documents that don't seem to me to be any later than November, which is September, October, and part of November. So if the surplus, 5%, which by the numbers may well be accurate, is based on information that was not current enough to create 5% from it, where is that 5%? Is that a question that you can follow? Am I being clear enough?
No, can you say it another way?
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Is the 5%, does the 5% represent everything that has been encumbered? My understanding is that not everything has been encumbered for the year.
Correct. It is not.
It is now, and...
It is not.
Oh, it is not, okay. So that 5% will go down once everything becomes encumbered and we get more bills in, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Actually, if I could.
Okay.
I speak the same language.
Thank you.
Mr. Humphrey?
All right, well, I am going to question it, and I'm going to question it because of a number of things, including the fact that how I arrived at my numbers was questioned personally. But during the meeting on the 8th, you stated that the encumbrances for FICA and all that were off, correct? And as a matter of fact, and then at the 1 hour, 2 minute, and 30-second mark, you said you expected to have more than 5% by the end of the year remaining. Those are your words, and
Yep, let
so,
me clarify if I can.
Yes.
During that conversation, I was discussing the fact that the bottom line went from roughly 1.8 million
Down
to
to 5.
500,000.
Mhm.
My explanation was that 1.5, 1.3, 1.5 was due to the encumbrances for deductions from payroll, which weren't accurate.
Yep.
That's what I was discussing. That's what I was meant by it'll go up because of those specific encumbrances.
Okay.
The-
Mr. Shute?
May I come up and pass something out to that board?
Sure.
While that,
And I have something to say.
that I'm not, the accuracy of your numbers for the 5%, I have no problem with. What I think is that 5% as a reduction won't carry through the end of the year in June.
I have enough for the audience, if the audience.
No
I
problem.
understand what you're saying.
Okay, and if I can remind the board that we're here to vote on warrant articles, I really don't want us to get sidetracked into the discussion about the budget. There is an opportunity to, if we decided that somebody wants to change it, we've got to deliver.
I have a thing that I do as chairman. Every so often, I'll ask Nate if everything is encumbered. These are the minutes from our meeting, November 11th, 2019. please read. I'll read what's highlighted for you. These are minutes that have been approved. This is the draft form. People would like copies, there's extra copies if you'd like to see it. And I do this probably every couple of months, or once a month. I say to Nate, is everything encumbered? This is from December 11th. Money expense report through November 2019. Douglas, which is me, page 26 on the budget. Is everything encumbered? Nate, still have not had a chance to check it 100%. So everything is not encumbered. Now, I can understand how somebody might get that wrong. I probably could do that too. But I ask this regularly at my meetings. So everything is not encumbered.
Okay, and if you go back to my meeting, because, and I just asked him, I didn't say it was all encumbered. As a matter of fact, I made the statement that we know it's not all encumbered. I am not even questioning your December meeting. I am questioning the meeting from the other day, the 8th of January. And that's where, that's the only reason I'm even revisiting this is because it was brought up that you guys rejected our budget, and all I did was say that there was going to be a surplus based on everything I've seen, plus the history. So, going by the words in that meeting is what I'm talking about, and where the 5% surplus comes in.
Can I ask who made the comment?
Your business administrator made the comment, and you, and matter of fact, when you repeated it, you says 5%, that sounds like a good number, and that comes right from that meeting. We can play the video. I'm only questioning it because that was stated after it was questioned that I used just your November data to figure out how to determine the budget, and that was false. I did not use just the November data. I used history, November data, and other things that I've seen throughout the year on how how money's been encumbered. So, I didn't have December information yet, but the December information actually proved my point. You're going to have more money than what was budgeted.
Okay, any other comments about, questions about Article 2 from the board or from the audience?
I'm gonna say this again, I'm calling a point of order. Because this isn't what this meeting for. You can adjust this budget at the deliberative session.
Okay. And I'm trying to go on to the next.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everybody's got their concerns answered. Okay. No other comments about Article 2, Article 3. And if I can read and get that up here. I think that's Article 3 there. This is the collective bargaining agreement. Okay, shall the Milton School District vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Milton School Board and the Milton Education Association, which calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels over the amount paid in the prior fiscal year. Estimated increase 2020 to 2021, $170,080.43. The next year, $145,520.74. And the final year, 22 to 23, $116,100.84. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $170,080.43 for the 2020-2021 school year, such sum representing the additional cost attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits over those of the appropriation at current staffing levels paid in the prior fiscal school year. School board represents this appropriation 5-0. Do I have a motion to approve or entertain this warrant article?
I'll make a motion to approve, entertain, whatever you want to.
Okay, do we have a
Recommend as
second?
written.
Second for discussion.
Second for discussion.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion on this warrant article? Mr. Williams?
Yes. I'm curious as to how it ended up being, all right, back on November 26th, school board came before us with the collective bargaining agreement and presented this document that I've got right here that is almost exactly the same as what is currently out there, except that one line and part of the next line was changed. So the total request for 2021 was $120,438.57 negative. In other words, subtracted. And it said estimated impact, tax impact at the time was 34 cents per thousand to the negative. All right, and it says negative is, and then it says amount is due to attrition. So I'm curious because the new one eliminated that line and now says $170,000.80 positive, which is a $290,000 shift from what we were told in
Mr. Shute.
November.
Can I ask a question of everybody in this room?
Yep.
Has anybody gone through life and never made a mistake?
No,
You've gone through life and never made a
I
mistake?
says, no, I've never.
No,
Yeah.
no, I've never gone through life without making mistakes.
Okay, because you're more perfect than I am, and I'll take the blame for this. That figure was wrong.
Okay.
We gave it to you and it was wrong. It shouldn't have been a minus. It should have been
Oh, okay.
it was an error made.
Okay.
What you can do right now is if you want to put somebody to blame, you can blame the chairman.
No, that's,
It was an incorrect number I gave you.
I'm not gonna blame anybody for making a, nope,
Right.
nope. Okay,
That
so,
was the number
so there was
that was-
an error in what we were given. This is, and these numbers have been vetted and they are correct?
They,
I'm assuming, correct, right?
I hope you hope they are. I'm comfortable with it.
Okay,
Can I say something about this document?
yes,
I was on the negotiating team with Pegger. Within the next 5 years, we're gonna lose 20% of our teachers. And I think this is probably one of, a lot of people may not think that. We're gonna lose a lot of high-paying people. We need to attract, we're gonna lose good teachers in the next 5 years. We need to attract young, good teachers to come into this town, because we did lose one this last year. He left the town and went to another community to make $8,000 more. So by proving this contract, you may not think you're gonna save money, but you are gonna save money because you're gonna bring in teachers at a lower rate. So that'll be a savings to us. I think this is an excellent contract for 3 years. Okay? Maybe a lot of people won't. And you misinterpreted Mr. Andy when I was pointing to it the other day. I was trying to go along with you because you have the same problem I do. I got people I want to keep that are at a low pay, and we need to get them up so we can keep them, because if we don't keep these people, it's going to present problems later on down the line. And I have sympathy with you, Andy, with that situation, because I have the same situation where I am. If we start losing good people, you think it's just because of this. You have bigger ramifications than that. That's what I was trying to say to you the other day when you and I had a misunderstanding.
uh, okay.
I wouldn't want your job either, Randy.
The other thing is that everything else that was presented that night is the same as far as the contract. It was just an error making the,
Okay. Was there a question in the back? Yeah. And if you could tell us your name, I forgot to ask that, so that I think we might be capturing names of people that talk. And she's nodding her head in the vertical plane, so.
Sure. Jen Duprat, I have two questions. One is, and this may not be the appropriate time, but just out of curiosity, what is the average salary of an educator in the town of Milton?
$48,846.
That's the average?
That's the average,
Is 48,000?
right, and the average New Hampshire is 58,301.
Is 15?
$58,301.
And then my next question is, how many of the teachers in the town have between 5 and 10 years in the town?
Good question. Nathan, would you have off the top of your head?
I know it's kind of a random question, but I asked that question because typically a new teacher will spend about 5 years in a district that's a low-paying district before they move to another district, because they want to get their feet wet, they want to get experience, and that 5 year still makes them attractive to another school district. The heart of your faculty is typically 5 to 10 years. You know, that's when people have experience, that's when they know what they're doing, that's when they become, you know, after 10, 12 years, they become less financially attractive to pay because they're gonna have to pay them at a higher rate. So my question is, just from the overall, experience of the faculty in town, how many of your teachers are in that sweet spot of, I would even say, 7 to 12 as opposed to 5 to 10? Because that's gonna make contractual obligations, you know, because you're paying people for that experience as well.
Well, Mr. Sussman.
That's a very valid point. What has occurred is that there is not as many people out there as there were a short time ago. And the areas of demand, critical demand, like science and math. So you can almost move that back a little bit. The math and science, and also in lieu of what the demand is, it's almost 2 or 3 now, more like 3. And that seems to be where it is with us. Like that one individual that was talked about before, the superintendent called me that very day, and I asked him what his salary schedule was, and it was $8,000 more than ours, and the gentleman was only in year 2. So, in saying what you said, and that was a K-6 position, where only 5 years ago, you could get a busload of folks in that area. And that's what's happening now. So, I think that's a very, very valid point that you raised.
I got 2,
18.
18, okay, so I was 2 off.
Okay, any other
Out of like 61.
Any other questions, comments about the Article 3? Okay, and seeing nobody nodding in the affirmative, can I have a roll call vote starting from my left? Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Oh, aye, I'm sorry. That was a yes.
No.
No.
I am voting yes just to put it on there. Doesn't mean I necessarily agree with figures, but yes.
This is tough. I understand what Doug was saying, and I appreciate that we're both selectmen, so you were a selectman once, and it is a difficult job. But I am going to have to say yes on this and let the people vote. Only because I know how hard it is to obtain help. I feel you. So, you know, this is what's good about living in an SB2 town. You can let the voters make the decision on one vote, and I like it that way. So I'll vote yes.
And chair votes yes. So it looks like 5 to 2 to me, if I counted right. And Article 4 is not a money article, so we're not going to talk about that one. And on to Article 5.
Can I say about all of you?
Yep.
You've got a hard job. I wouldn't want to be up there with you, but I got a hard job here. I know we're gonna disagree, I hope we can disagree to disagree.
Yeah,
I'll defend what I believe in. If you can convince me, I'll listen.
But the point, I think Humphrey brought it up, and we'll let the people decide.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what's on there is if we disagree with the numbers, we disagree with the numbers. We'll do that till the cows come home, right? But the point being is, we just got to get this information to the people and let the people
Can I
decide.
let everybody realize, I'm a senior citizen, I'm on a fixed income, and we cannot put things off, okay? And then there I go putting it for Andy again, and I understand where Andy is coming. I know. I didn't mean against you, because I've been there.
Nothing is a bad shirt.
It's all
Yeah,
your
I've been in
fault,
that
Andy.
position.
All right. And
Okay.
going on to Article 5, if nobody else has any other extraneous comments here. Shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000, $5,000 in numerics, to purchase library media for the Newton High School and library? This is a special warrant article appropriation. School board recommends it 5-0. The tax impact is 1 cent per thousand.
I'll make a motion to approve Article number 5.
Second,
Okay, do we have any discussion on article number 5?
Yeah, I have a question. Why for such a small amount of money are we asking for it separately? And, I mean, $5,000, we can't find $5,000 out of the operating budget to fund this?
It,
I mean, seriously, why?
it's sort of a separate entity, and we were not even going to do it this year. We do it every single year, the same amount. And we were asked by one of the Board of Trustees of the library that they didn't need it this year, and then came back and said, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So we put it back in. So it's one of those things that every year we just give them a small amount of money and they update some of their
And-
books and stuff.
And remember, the Newt Library is not just for the school, that is also
Right,
public library.
it's public library
So
too.
this goes to the public good to support that public library.
So
Yes,
it's a
sir.
dual
The,
name.
now good one.
Thank you, Al. I'm helping Sherry.
The library books that are purchased, library books and media that are purchased with that money are labeled with a school stamp. If you go to the Newt Library, you'll notice in the books there's a school stamp and then there's a public stamp, and that is because it is also a public library. And the funds that do the school thing there are requirements and limitations to what you can purchase with the school ones. Same thing with checking things out under certain areas. Public can, people under 18, student you can't during the school day type of thing. So that is basically funds for the school, like the school age geared section versus the library board of trustees funds the remainder of the books and stuff like that.
Okay. All right, any other? Mr. Umper?
My only other question on it, now, because there's $18,000 in the budget right now for, and it says in the high school, for AV material, books, computer equipment, and furniture for the high school. So is this for the high school, or is this for the public? That's the question I have, because, I mean, there's money in there for media and everything else.
Yes, Beck.
That is because there are classes held in the library. It's more for the students that go in and have a library class or a class in the library. So it's totally separate from this.
All right, any other? Yes, sir.
What is in the proposed budget that you're referring to is curriculum-based for that teacher to use for curriculum, for supplies to teach that curriculum, for educational purposes. The money that's requested by the library, New High School and Library Board of Trustees, for the school board to put forward this article is for books of interest for those students above and beyond curriculum.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
yeah, and there are those who even donate magazine subscriptions to the library. Not that I would know anything about that. What you're also looking at is August of 2008. The Newt Library and High School were a twofer from Lewis Newt, industrialist and shoe manufacturer of Farmington. And the trustees' funds following the 2008 debacle of financial markets fell upon hard times. I happen to have known several of the trustees, one of whom recently died. So it is small funds, 1 penny, but many minds profit from it.
Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Oh, did I see a hand in the back?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So this is, Jen Duprat again. So this is money that's going towards curriculum?
No,
This would be money that the school librarian can use to purchase books of interest for the school-aged kids.
Okay, you use the word curriculum at one
The
point, that's
one,
why I.
yep, the money that is in the proposed operating budget,
Yeah,
was what I said was used for curriculum, just to separate, so
Okay.
what is in it, because, it was questioned
Mhm.
why we're asking a separate more
Right.
The school board is asking a separate warrant article on top of the proposed budget. The proposed budget is all curriculum based.
Yes, okay.
This is interest of the students to get more books on the shelf that'll engage them in reading.
Okay, so not
Programs.
content curriculum specific?
Correct.
Okay, just general interest
General interest,
for academic and educational purposes?
correct.
Okay.
One more
Any
question,
other questions?
Mr. Chair.
Well, up and, okay,
I have
yes?
Laura Turgeon. So this $5,000 is not for public use.
The
It is
public can,
specifically for the student use, correct?
it is geared towards student use, and student have priority over checking the book out.
Okay, any other questions, concerns, comments? Seeing no hands, even those that I can't see go to the podium. Roll call from my left, starting with Mr. Brown.
Hold on one second,
Well-
Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify something because that comment actually kind of contradicted itself because, you know, we started off saying that this 5,000, that, you know, the library was for, it's a student library, it belongs to the town. But, you know, as Al just said, you know, these books are priority, you know, the kids have priority. But really, I mean, you kind of like contradicted yourself a little bit when you said that.
And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I wanted to clarify, but my time is up. They're student requests, so it's not something, everybody in the town that is going to check these out are students. So it's student-based stuff. What I meant by that is there's those things that the library board of trustees purchases and the books that that librarian purchases that students can also check out, but they can't check out during the school day or if they're under 18. So what I meant by that is they can check these books out during the school day or when they're considered general public at the time frame of the school day ending. So they're all student-based, student-driven for that reason.
Okay.
I just meant there's that like time frame cutoff when school stops and they're considered a public patron versus a student.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, Ms. Hurd.
Now, I just want to clarify. I, as just a townsperson, even though it was purchased with a student in mind, I can also take that book out, correct? As a townsperson.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, so it's,
It's geared towards the students. It's all
right, but I wanted
for
to
the
read a
students.
student book.
And I'll go on record, I will clarify with the librarians what the fine print is. I'll agree. I am like 98% sure, but it is for the school librarian to gear towards school things of interest to get kids engaged in the library and reading more.
Mr. Woods.
Outside of
Very good.
curriculum.
Seeing that I started this whole thing, I just want to throw my 2 cents in. My issue with this is whether it's town should be funded through the school budget or through the town budget. Why are we wasting time with $5,000? It shouldn't even be here.
It's just been there forever.
No.
All right, okay. Any other, Mr. Sussman?
I think this is kind of a growth time because actually this 5,000 is something that's always been there. And I can remember way back looking at this in other schools when I was back, you know, when I was back in New York and wondering why is this here and why is this like a special vote and all this kind of stuff. So I think what you folks are doing, just like a school board does, it's a filter for the town, for the towns, and you as a budget committee are a filter for the towns. And it's kind of a growth thing, and some of the things we're going into is you're doing your jobs, and you're asking the questions, and one looks at it and says, well, this is the way it's always been, but I can understand where you come from, and actually sometimes it's a good discussion because of fresh lens. I'm sure if I went to a different career and I was on a board and I was looking at an antique shop and somebody says, well, it's always been this way, and I go, well, why? You know, I don't understand that, and you're doing your work and you're working very hard. So I just hope we just all learn learn together, and I hope as we go through next year, we're all in a more cohesive front, and some of these questions and some of these understandings will be more meshed.
Okay, any other? Okay. Okay, going once, going twice. Mr. Brown. Starting with Mr. Brown, I should say.
I will not give you more details. Aye.
Yes.
No.
No,
No.
Yes.
And chair votes yes. I think that was 4-3, if I counted right.
Yep.
And that was Article 5.
Can I- You know you had
Yes.
no votes. I'm going back to what I was saying before, and I'm going to reiterate it. You gotta change these no votes to yes votes for next year, and I'll see why.
All right, okay, and on to Article 6. We got it up there on the screen, bright and pretty for everybody to see. And is that a money article? Yes, that is a money article? Yep.
We will not raise your taxes.
Okay. And to avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use funds to come from a one-time increase in the district's adequate education grant, RSA 198:41, to be received from the state of New Hampshire in 2020-2021 fiscal year in the sum of $172,591 for the design and construction of improvements and the renovation and replacement of the air handling system at the Milton Elementary School and the fire alarm and emergency management systems at Newton Middle High School and the Milton Elementary. This will be a non-lapsing special warrant article per RSA 32:7 VI and will not lapse until the improvements are completed or by June 30th, 2024, whichever is sooner. And if I might have a...
I move to approve as written, recommend as written.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Do we have any discussion on the motion that's on the floor? Mr. Woods?
How does this relate to the 361K? Is this in addition, this is the next allotment?
Yeah, correct. But we got a mistake there too. Okay, let's correct that. You can blame me. We were told originally we were gonna get $400,000 on the second allotment. You probably heard that rumor. Well, we were informed by our attorney that wasn't right. So right now, well, you probably got this chart here. So I'm sure I gave it to you.
Yeah, I think
I'll
I
back
got it.
up, yeah.
And what it says, this will give us enough money to do at least one bill, all the engineering studies we can pay for. The air handler is gonna be paid for, which is priority one. This will allow us, if we can put this money in there, we can do one fire alarm in one building, okay? And then we can use the parts from that building. If anything breaks down in the other building, we can use those parts, because those parts are gonna be hard to get. Because of what Seaman, we put that material out before.
Yep.
So, if we can live with, and this warrant, this money is geared to, if it's not used by a certain date, it'll go back to taxes. But I think we need, just to get one building done and have the parts as spares, and that's what this is.
Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns about warrant article number 6? Not seeing any hand up, Mr. Rawson.
So I thought next year we don't know how much anticipated funds you're gonna get, but weren't you gonna use those funds to help offset some of these costs?
I can't do it unless you let me do it. I
Well,
can't
next
spend-
year it should be a little bit easier though for you.
It is now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
that's what this
Before, we had to do a special warrant article because we couldn't spend it. Now we're getting ahead of the game by doing this, so we don't have to have a special meeting.
Mhm.
This time we can go through you. The other time, we came to you and consulted you, but the law didn't require us to get your vote back then. This time it does, because we have plenty of time to do it. But if you vote no, that's okay. That's your prerogative. I'm not gonna, I don't know where you live.
But so moving forward though, you are gonna use some of those anticipated funds next
This is
year?
extra money we got coming in, but we still got, Nate could answer that.
I think that this is those anticipated funds.
No, I know it
Yeah.
is, but I'm talking about the following year.
I don't know, they don't know that they're getting any the following year.
Yeah,
Well,
this coming year we are, this is what this is.
No, the year after. The
Well,
year
we-
after, we're not getting any.
We don't know that, let's not say we don't know that, because I think they're gonna find this,
They said we weren't.
well, you know, the legislature is trying to provide more money for adequate
Okay, as of right now, we
No,
don't anticipate more.
yeah, but it may, I think it may,
But,
for a third term.
Right, yeah. Okay. Any other? Still confused? Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? Okay, Mr. Brown.
yes, if things shouldn't be tense all evening, of that money that you know you're not getting, it's all encumbered, right?
Okay, can we have a roll call vote starting from my left on that?
Aye.
vote?
Aye.
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 Yes.
yes.
And chair votes aye. Hey, we got a unanimous one. We got like seven all, and that was on number 6.
Thank you.
Okay, and number 7, see if we can get that up there so everybody can read it. And for those that are watching on the YouTube thing, sorry that you can't see that, but one day we'll figure it out. Okay, so Article 7, shall the Milton School District vote to create a capital reserve fund for the purpose of purchasing and maintaining maintenance vehicles for the school district, and to name the school board as agents to expend this fund, and further, raise and appropriate up to the sum of $7,000 to be placed in this fund. This is a special warrant article appropriation. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0. Tax impact is 1 cent per thousand. And we'll have a motion to,
Recommend as written.
Second.
okay, any discussion?
Same thing as the last one. Why do we need a special warrant article for $7,000?
This, I think
Why?
this is primarily to create the capital reserve fund.
Yeah.
They're putting money in it. They're creating the fund. They don't have the fund right now. You have to have one article created.
But you're asking for an additional $7,000 to create that capital reserve fund. Can't that $7,000 come from existing funding?
Well, technically, it's gonna come out of the,
We'll use the term that we all like to use, surplus.
no, it's not on this one, it's,
It can't come from there? You can't allocate 7,000
I
out
don't
of
think we're gonna have enough, because. what we do
$11
is-
million or whatever the number is for,
Surplus, you're talking about? We prioritize what we think we're gonna have out of the surplus.
Mhm.
And the one that usually gets top priority is special ed,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Then we clock them, or they're gonna do what we think. And we're doing the same thing that the town does. Yeah, you could do that, but I don't think we're gonna have enough money to start this CIP. Some of you may think we are, but I don't think we are.
I'm gonna pull out that, remember that sheet, that little spreadsheet you said you provided us?
Which one is that
The
one?
one that goes back 10 years?
I don't know.
Of all the money, of all the money we've returned to the town?
You got that wrong, though.
I have it wrong?
No, I mean, the interpretation, what's the problem, what we should be doing with that document, we gotta straighten it out. The majority of that money does not come from the surplus of the operating budget. It comes from other funds, like from insurance, revenue we can't spend. It's not coming out of the, we only got $63,000 this year, this last year, left out of our operating budget, which is good. But we did get extra other money that we got in, we cannot spend because you, as voters, would not let us. So we gotta give it back to the town at the end of the year. We didn't, the school didn't have no $400,000 left over at the end of the year. I'll stick,
No, but
I
I
know what
just,
you're saying to me.
you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're
'Cause
doing.
it
I know what
was,
you're
it was
saying.
nice, it was a nice spreadsheet, but it doesn't apparently mean anything, right?
well, it should have been more.
When we
clarification.
averaged $250,000 going back to the town,
I know what you're saying.
you said that, I mean, I'm
I know it.
just quoting your spreadsheet.
You're right,
So,
I agree with you. Now,
Is it
what-
illegal for us to take $7,000 out of any surplus anywhere and use that for,
I can't take it. I could have,
no?
no,
Is it,
the priorities are set first, and I don't think we're gonna have, we got a default budget this year. I don't think we're gonna have any money left over.
okay,
You can,
All right.
at the end of the year, you can challenge me on that one.
that's
All
okay.
right, Mr. Brown. Well, he's pointing over at Mr. Sussman.
Who's heard?
Just real briefly, what has happened is, you know, with the default budget in last year, what we returned, so it's diminishing what is actually coming from the budget that was not put out there, spent. And some of those, and it's coming from some of those other areas, like Al Goodwin had said, grants like a DDHS grant that they extend, or E-rate, some of the sped things that we get back to Med, to CADE, some of that is a year behind, right? There's the pause here. And some of the reimbursements that we get takes a year for it to come. So more of that is occurring in terms of what is returned at the end. And I think that Larry had said it one of the last times we met, you know, you cut from there. So therefore, we're getting to a point where the piggy bank, so to speak, and I don't want to use that term, but they're getting, you know, there's not that much, right?
All right, Peg?
This was our year to work with the planning board and create a capital improvement plan for vehicles, and this is part of that. So that it's not, so that we can actually build up a reserve, so that when we do have maintenance vehicles that break, we're not hitting the town with huge amounts of money and raising their taxes. So it's, Andy, I mean, you guys have been involved in CIP and all of that. Maybe you can throw some light on it? I don't know. I mean, it's part of the CIP plan. I don't know if it's been approved yet, but I know that was one of the items that we put on the CIP.
Well, the planning board approved it,
Okay,
and they've helped you, you know, write this
right.
warrant article. You know, the town's in the capital improvement plan, and I think it's working well. So, you know, I just think what Dennis was saying was, you know, could we find the 7,000 somewhere else? That's all. That's all he was saying. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not arguing the capital plan, obviously.
Okay, all right, well, this is part of the capital plan.
All right, Mr. Brown?
I would like to suggest that this is a 1 cent even seesaw. 1 cent per thousand on this side, 1 cent per thousand on that side. If it comes out of the warrant article as written, and if there is $7,000 left in the surplus, the $7,000 that is the 1 cent per thousand cost goes back into the town general fund. What is what is being done is what is already said. This becomes part of the CIP and becomes incremental. It would become incremental no matter what the funding source is, as long as the voters approve it. I think it is more useful to have the commitment of the voters to fund it at the cost of 1 cent per thousand. And if you believe the comments that have been made about the year-round utility of the maintenance vehicle, which in winter will have a plow on it and in summer will be used for other stuff. If people buy that, it's only going to cost 1 cent per thousand. So that was my assessment for.
Okay. All right, any other questions, comments? And seeing none, roll call vote from my left, starting with Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Yes.
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 And chair votes yes. Looks like it is 6-1. That was number 7. And let's see, number 8's kind of up there. You can kind of see it. Okay.
Would
Yes,
the
Mr.
chair
Brown.
entertain a small afterthought? If the warrant had been written as Dennis wants it, I would have voted with him, presuming that he would have gone yes.
Okay, and article number 8. This is another money article. In sort of the same vein, Shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $40,000 to purchase a year-round maintenance truck with a plow attachment for Milton School District? This is a special warrant article appropriation. School board recommended it 5-0. Tax impact is 8 cents per thousand. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this Article 8.
Second?
Sure.
And Mr. Brown seconds. Okay, discussion on warrant article number 8. Yes, in the back. I think that's Laura hiding back there behind the podium.
Hi, yeah, it's me. Question, it was my understanding when I went to the school board warrant meeting that you guys would look to see if there were any more cost-effective, vehicles. And I do believe, Mr. Shute, that you had told me that it wasn't going to be $40,000. You had 2 options. Now you're going with the more expensive option now?
No, that isn't vote. I got 2 estimates from the dealer. Okay? And I have to put the 40, it's gonna be under $40,000. That would be this document.
Yeah, the cheaper one was $38,351.
All right.
2 estimates.
Yes, sir.
That's all Steer from the school board. Just as a little side note
Okay,
to this,
so one was 40.
we did have our meeting a couple days ago and talked about other options. This year, you know that the town gave us one of their plow trucks. It's been in the shop more than it's been out of the shop, and we're milking it through. We'll hopefully get it through the rest of this year. So we can do that. If you take it down the highway, it blows so much oil that it fouls plugs, et cetera. It's good for a yard rat to finish plowing the year. In the meantime, we're setting up a fund to do this, which is Article 7. Article 8 would start us off with the vehicle that we're gonna have. We did talk about maybe looking at a used vehicle. I know we've talked about this from the town level and the school level. You buy a used vehicle, you buy used problems. Not saying if we spent $20,000 versus $40,000, we might get a decent vehicle that'll get us through 4 or 5 years to where that capital reserve is up to get us the next vehicle. So I know we've kind of changed, we mentioned, I don't know if I'm stepping on a line by saying paying up to $40,000 based on our research and trying to find a vehicle. Obviously, in the spring when everybody's dumping their plow trucks is the time to buy it, not the fall when everybody's looking. So we don't have something pinned down and say, okay, we went last week and we looked at 52 trucks. I mean, now's not the time to look for plow trucks. But, so in the interim, we'd like to put something, maybe, I don't know if we can adjust it up to $40,000. If for some reason, you know, we look at trucks and you're more than welcome to join us. I mean, plow trucks are driven like rental trucks. I mean, I have a plow truck and I hammer the thing, just, it's the nature of the beast. If we want to buy a $20,000 truck with, 40,000 miles and, 15,000 miles worth of snow plowing, we can do that. But we have to do the research, and until that time comes, we have to have a contingent plan for when that town truck no longer operates, and we tow it to the junkyard like we just did our 2 school truck.
Mr. Shute.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
All I'm gonna say, nothing tells, we don't have to buy a new vehicle. Maybe we can find a used one. Although if we put a maintenance agreement on it, or a warranty, which is gonna come later on the van, it's gonna cost you at least $3,000. Okay?
Yep.
So it doesn't mean we have to buy a new truck. There's no reason if we can find a good used truck, we think it's gonna be good, nothing's gonna stop. And then if we don't spend this full $40,000, we have to give it back to you because it's a special warrant article.
Quick. Oh, go ahead.
Humphrey.
Well, I'm gonna come back to the surplus comment, and I know there's priorities, but I guess I want to address some priorities. You mentioned about having the money for special education, so Article 9 talks about $50,000 for special education. And this year, going from fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 21, the special education is going up. Let me get back to where the number was. Come on. It's like $267,000. $435 increase in special education for next year. I would think that you could prioritize a plow truck possibly because you've increased the special education by a considerable margin already. So this $50,000 is towards special education. If you're increasing it that much, Why wouldn't you prioritize the need for a plow truck at this point?
Well, I'm not, I understand what you're saying, but I don't increase that special ed out of choice. I've got no choice.
It's spent.
I'm sorry?
It's spent.
It's spent, so.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to put a number out there that's not true. Maybe Nate can address it. But whatever's in that fund right now that would have that $50,000 prioritized to it, one single student can wipe it out right this second. One student moves into town and it's gone. We do not have a choice with any of the money, virtually, that's spent through special education. So it's just basic sound planning to make hay while the sun shines and, you know, be ready for that rainy day. And also, you guys are way smarter than me. I'm just a teacher stuck in an administrator's body, but a surplus to me is an unexpected windfall of money based on things coming up at the end different than what you thought. To spend a surplus does not seem to me reasonable in any way. If the money has been budgeted and the document is pages long with line by line items of to the penny exactly what's going to be spent, if a surplus comes out of that, that seems great. It doesn't seem like a reason to slash or a reason to come up with ways to spend it before it even exists.
Okay.
My comment is not, I understand, I'm not talking about not spending the budget. I'm talking about the fact that these warrant articles here also address using surplus. So there's surplus here under that, which I talked about under special education. There's surplus for the building that are all part of the priorities. You got more money going towards the building. I'm just thinking that there is a way of shuffling this around if the plow truck is that important. That's saying there's a possibility there. We're still talking surplus.
True, but if one kid could move into town and destroy all those plants.
No doubt.
All right, any other?
Yes,
Yep.
please, Mr. Chair. I just don't, not that, all these warrant articles are valid, that they wouldn't be if you weren't asking for them. My only fear is unfortunately, special education warrant article last year failed. And I'm afraid that you're setting all this up for failure. Especially, with his truck. Did you get onto the state bids? The state bids that the town has, the state bids where you can buy vehicles through the state?
That's what this was.
Yeah.
That's what this was, okay.
Yeah, through Pat Smith, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay.
He's the one that got me this estimate.
Okay.
And by turning that other vehicle, it got us a reduction, and it is through your program.
Okay. That's good then. Because I know that, it's a cost savings if you get onto the state bid. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
All right, and Mr. Wood.
I got a question. So, we approved this warrant article, goes to the folks, let's just assume it's approved by the people. And you end up with a reasonable surplus at the end of the year out of your operating budget. What happens to this $40,000?
Oh, no, I can't spend, I can
So
only spend
essentially,
this
it's not gonna get spent, correct? That $40,000?
if we don't buy the truck? Or buy
No, if you bought the truck out of your operating budget.
Oh, no, I don't have a spot in there to buy a truck. in
Okay.
the operating budget.
Hear me again. We get toward the end of the year, unless you're gonna buy this thing tomorrow. You're gonna buy it tomorrow?
No,
Can't.
Okay. So when it gets to the end of the year and you have a surplus of $40,000, can you use that money to buy the truck and not increase the tax rate?
For this year, you can't, because no means no. It was turned down last year.
Okay.
The warrant article got turned down. So no means no. So that would be nice to do. That's a good point.
What I'm trying to avoid here, because it's my personal opinion, that one of the major reasons why our tax rate is creeping up is that we have all of these allocations or monies appropriated that increase our tax rate, and I kind of disagree with my cohort here that just because it goes back into the general fund doesn't help the tax rate. it's essentially, it's not mismanaging, but it's not using the available funds that we've already increased the tax rate by to purchase some of these items. Does that make any sense? I mean, it's,
But I have to
so-
have a line item. Do I have a line item where I can buy a truck in it right now in the budget?
No.
Nate?
No.
So technically, I can't do that, because I don't have a line item in the operating budget. Even if I had the money, I gotta have a line item.
Okay.
And you people, not you, I should say you people, last year they said no means no, so I can't do it. So if I go out and buy that, I'm gonna be the chairman's gonna be in trouble.
Okay, that's out of your past budget. We're talking, this is 21 budget, right? We're talking about?
If we have a line in there, and if I had the money, I don't think we're gonna be. If we go to the deliberative session, and you cut what you wanna cut, am I gonna be able to buy a truck out of that operating budget? No. No. I don't think I have it.
Okay.
Remember when Larry, the chronological thing last time, the books, and then the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, for cutting, and the next thing, and the next thing. And you came right back to the, I don't have a lot of money. I don't think I got $40,000 in the budget to buy a truck.
Mr. Brown?
Yeah. The present school budget ends June 30th, which means no matter what is approved or disapproved in March has no impact on monies that the district can spend up through 6/30. If a warrant to purchase a truck goes in and is defeated, that means that 7/1/20 through 6/30/21, you may not buy a truck.
Correct.
If there were no warrant and the school district had a line item which had been vetted by its attorney, so that the school board could, after public hearing, commit any funds in the operating budget, even before the determination of a surplus, to the purchase of a truck with plow, that would be a way to do it. That doesn't exist.
At this time, you're right.
If I were king, which is, I would make sure I had a line item and the authority of the board to purchase vehicles, even though they violated the CIP recommendation based on the demonstrated need of the district, the health, safety, and welfare of the students. If I were king.
Okay.
Thank
and
you.
We had a question, comment in the back? Yes.
Al Goodwin. I think the reason why it's on a warrant article and not necessarily in the budget per se, not only is there no line item, but each year the school administration, teachers, and the school board are challenged to present the lowest possible budget. And I think, from my perspective, and I could be wrong because it's happened once or twice, even recently, putting that $40,000 in the budget would increase the chances of the budget not being approved. So by putting the school budget together as minimal as they feel possible, puts the student, the faculty, and the educational first, and then by putting things like this in warrant articles, it'd be awesome, it's definitely beneficial, but we don't want that 40,000 added to the other whatever million, risking not getting there. I feel like that's why. It's a challenge. I've been a part of it. I've seen it. I think our school board has done great with kind of pushing back. Our administration has done phenomenal with saying, you know, we need to do as bare bones as possible, and then we go to a default and whatnot. So as far as why is it not in the operating budget, it's because we want what we absolutely need first, and let's try to get the actual main part of the budget approved. Like, let's pray for that to happen one day. I know I pay the taxes here, I get it, but I also chose to live in Milton. I did my research, I knew what I was getting into. Love this town. So there's two
As
separate
we all
things
do,
there.
that's why we're sitting here.
Yeah.
Mr. Steer?
I agree with that. That's just, as of last month, I've been here 25 years, so I get it. But going back to that, a couple of years ago, we were approached by, I don't know who it was a town person. Why didn't we put the $6,000 riding lawnmower in a warrant article? I can't believe we slipped that into the budget. Think we're gonna do that with a truck? It was that bad. Seriously. We bought a John Deere riding lawnmower, we were asked why it wasn't on a warrant article.
But by having it on a warrant article, aren't you setting yourself up for another year of not being able to buy the truck? So then what do we do? If
Because we
if
have
it truly
we have
is
priorities
needed,
we have to have for the things that we really, I mean, we need a truck, but special education comes out of surplus. The other things come out of surplus.
Mhm.
Those are the things that's number one to the students. The truck is something we're gonna have to try to do year after year after year. Yeah, the students are gonna have to walk through snow, or it's gonna take longer, but it's not priority to their education to have a plow truck. We need a truck, but, you know, if we're gonna pull something out of the surplus, we need to pull it out of something that really matters, it's gonna help the students in the long run. So that's why we prioritize it that way.
prioritizing
That's not
is
bad.
absolutely, no question. That's a great plan.
Yes, sir.
Mike Chisholm, I don't understand something, I'd just like to have clarification, is Public Works has all these plows, and they plow anyway, why can't they plow the school?
So,
Mike's got this down pat now. Sure.
any day you look at, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna use Facebook as one of the things, of how hard it is for the town to maintain the roads and keep up with the roads in the snow. For the school, you have to do all the plowing, bank and moving, salting, sanding, walkways. You know, it's so much to add to do the two schools on top of all the roads.
Okay.
That's all, yeah, it's hard enough, and I trust the town, man, they work all day and all night when it comes to the snow
Oh, I
storm.
know that, and I'm
and
not
adding that to
complaining
it.
about any of that.
Yeah,
No, no,
it'd
it's-
make the school end up falling behind as far as when it could open, because the school's like, you will open at this hour,
Yeah.
and if they're doing every other road in town,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be able to get that
So
in
the
time.
town could not
Correct,
prioritize
correct.
doing the
They'd have to
school.
drop everything to do the school while every other road suffers.
I'll say one thing, I moved here from Rochester, and I have been ecstatic about how our
I
town
was
takes
gonna
care
say,
of the roads.
the roads
I
are
cannot
far
believe
better
how
here
well
than
our town
any other
takes care
town.
of our roads in a snowstorm.
If we can just remember we're here to vote on. I like hearing the comments, and there will be ample opportunity on Saturday to do this very same thing again. And did you have your hand up?
I had it. I just on that same line, remembering the discussion from a year ago, was also the point that we already have staff at the school that we pay that can do this, whereas if the town were to do it, they would need another truck and another person in order to do the job. So, I mean, it just seems like
Yep.
it makes sense for the school to keep doing it.
Okay, any other questions, concerns, comments about this? I see no hands. I'm gonna really quickly
Aye.
roll from my left.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
Yes.
Andy?
I was
Still
just
thinking?
doing my math. I mean, like I said, I'm one vote. You know, I can vote yes here today and let it go onto the ballot. And, you know, so I'll vote yes.
And chair votes yes. That looks like it is 5-2. And incidentally, the vote that we're having here tonight doesn't mean it's not going on the ballot. These are going on the ballots. These are whether or not the budget committee recommends this as an expenditure. They're going on the ballot regardless. So, just as a reminder for everybody. Okay, Ann. Let's see, can we see number 9 up there? I think we can. Hey, we can see number 9 up there. And number 9 says it's a money article. To avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2020, and raise and appropriate up to the sum of $50,000 to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the education of educationally disabled children established in 2011. There's a note that says warrant Article 9 will not result in additional taxation, and the school board recommended it 5-0. Do I have a motion to?
Recommend as written.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Mr. Steer.
I think Mr. Quire already explained it. At any day, it could completely fall apart and we would lose it, you know, every penny out of this account would go to something. So it's good to have that, you know, make hay when the sun shines.
Special education is the probably least controllable part of this whole thing.
Yeah, that is one of the things that you have to do. State gives you no choice. And I think federal government gives you no
Right.
choice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Woods?
Don't we typically have this warrant article every year?
Yes.
Yep.
I think last year's the first year it
Did
failed.
we spend it last year?
Didn't get it.
Sorry?
Didn't get it.
Voted down.
It was voted down. Okay,
Right,
okay,
right.
gotcha, all right.
But, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No.
This is Laura Turgeon. For
Yep.
this one, it's not costing the taxpayers anything. You're just moving funds correctly? No?
No, it's-
How does it not affect taxes
There's
if
money left over at the end of the year when we use
you
it.
move it? So yeah, so in a sense, you are moving funds around, which is awesome. I think, to have it there is super important.
Mr. Shute?
You've already been taxed on the money.
Yeah.
You won't be taxed on it again. You've already previously raised and appropriated
Right,
it. Yeah,
right.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we make, I want to add one more point to that equation,
Go ahead.
is that if we don't spend it on this, it can be used to buy down your tax rate. If the Board of
Agreed,
Selectmen
but I think
decide.
that it's probably a little
I'm
bit
just
more important
adding
to
that
have
in.
special ed than-
There's other factors in the equation. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
they were all
No, I
represented.
understand that.
Okay.
All right. Any other
School
questions,
can't,
concerns?
though. Town can't.
Right.
Okay, seeing no hands, Mr. Brown, do you have something to say? You're gonna vote?
Interesting. If you have a federal tax deduction for your property tax, and of $1,000, and the money goes back into the general fund, and money comes out of the general fund the next year, lowers your tax rate, the money that you paid in taxes to the federal government does not get taxed a second time.
Mr. Brown, let me ask you to please walk on eggshells around that, because our tax bills came out late this year, and they're not due till after January 1st. So any tax bills that didn't get paid prior to December 31st cannot come off of our tax bills. So,
The point of order, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
really, this is really about warrant articles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, it's getting
Yep.
late.
Oh, we got down to
We
do
have
it.
town, yeah.
Okay, do we have any other questions, concerns, comments about number 9?
Aye.
And starting from my left.
Aye.
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 Very important warrant article, I vote aye.
And chair votes aye. That looks like it is 7-0 on number 9. All right, let's see. Number 10. Oh. Uh-oh. I might have to go over there and
Wow.
look this again.
This
Is that it?
Have nice things.
That ain't it. Where'd it go?
Ship went.
I lost it. Let me get over here and see what I'm doing. Technology is a wonderful thing, especially when you stand in front of it and see what you're doing.
I think it was up more.
Well, I think I closed more. It was that one right there. And we're number 10, I think.
Yes.
Starting
I'm
to-
asking, thank you. All right, there we go. I'm trying not to touch this thing too much. Problem is, I gotta move it every once in a while, and I can't necessarily see where the pointer's at. Otherwise, it's gonna go to sleep, and I gotta type in a password. It's about 50 characters long. Okay, and number 10. To avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2020, and raise and appropriate up to the sum of $50,000 to be placed in the Milton School District Building Maintenance, Repair, Renovation, and Capital Project Reserve Fund, established in 2005 for the purpose of repairing and maintaining school buildings. Note, warrant Article 10 will not result in additional taxation. School Board recommends this appropriation 5-0. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve article number 9.
And second.
Ten.
And Mr.
Ten,
Rawson,
second.
10. Mr. Rawson seconded. He beat you there, Mr.
Oh,
Brown.
it doesn't matter.
Any discussion on article number 10?
Just a quick,
Yep.
how much is in this fund right now?
1, 2, 3. Oh, $89,834.70. That was the 4,700. But a lot of that is already
Yeah,
spoken for. maybe? Nate?
We have 90, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
We have 90, just over $99,000 encumbered for projects that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
How much?
99,000. So there's about 88,000 after that.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns?
I think, help Andy, because he's
Yeah, I'm-
got it confused.
I got
You missed
confused,
something,
look,
yeah, you missed it.
So there's 170,000 in that? And so you're looking to spend
As,
99,000?
yes, as of this
Okay.
very second, there's 170-ish thousand.
Okay.
But we are finishing up some projects and we'll be spending 99,000 of that.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Now,
All right.
can
Mr. Street?
I, a lot of that money, I think we used for, safety issues?
Yes.
20%.
Yes.
A lot of safety things, what improvements were made to the schools. We had to pay the 20 and the state
Right.
gave us 80.
Right.
These are real, they're good improvements. Protect the kids.
Peg?
I know, just expanding on what Doug just said, we've had a lot of grants from the state, but we have to spend the 20% of whatever the grant amount is, and that's what this is coming from. So we're getting the grants, which is helping an awful lot, but we still have to put forth some money too, so.
Okay.
On average,
Question.
during the year, sorry.
Other than the projects that you have earmarked right now, are there other projects that you know have to be done in the near future?
Well, then, yes.
Oh, yeah, Bob's not here.
We're working on putting on the CIP.
There are projects.
Parking lot and other things along
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a bad culvert at MES that's gotta be taken care of. It's collapsing. So it's gonna be put on the list. Will be moved up probably in priority, but we thought these other two things had a higher priority, the air handler and the fire alarm. There, we do have I'm sure you as a town has the same issues.
All right, Dennis, I think.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, concerns, comments about warrant article?
Just
Yep,
one.
Mr. Humper.
The, what about, now you got line items, and I can pull the December data, but the line items that are in in the budget right now for the maintenance and repair of the buildings, how do those play in over and above this? I mean, because you've got money left over right now, so these plans, and I understand what this is, a capital reserve. I'm just trying to figure out how we can save somewhere else too. But I mean, you've got money this year that doesn't look like it's going to be spent. So I'm trying to figure out, well, your culvert, for instance, and a few other things. I mean, there's money in there. What,
This is also a fund, an in-case fund. So next week, we could lose one of the furnaces at the school. That's what that would come out. So
no,
we
I
can't
understand
tell
it's,
you-
I understand it's a capital reserve. I understand that. I'm trying to
But like the
figure out how to help
maintenance fund is
others.
if something were to break, like one of the snow blowers quits or something like that to fix the snow, it's like the daily maintenance of the buildings. You know, one of the water fountains breaks down, something, anywhere from, simple to rather complex. Covers the daily overall maintenance of all the buildings. So it's hard to tell how much money we're gonna have left, because we don't know what's gonna break then.
All right, Peg, you're getting nervous twitch there.
My twitch is happening. If in the book, pages 43 and 44, whatever is in the line item in the operating budget is really broken out by building in these 2 pages, and it is basically daily maintenance of the buildings and taking care of minor problems, not anything major. So, does that answer your question, Humphrey?
It does
'Cause
to a
we-
point.
Because
It
we
does
did
to a-
reduce that amount, I know.
No, 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 I'm looking at this year's budget. Right now, between the elementary school and the middle and high school, operation and maintenance and repair of the buildings, after the encumbrances, and I know there may still be some others, I understand that, but this is your December expenditures, there is still over $35,000 that hasn't been encumbered yet. I don't know what you've got planned. So, I'm looking all around here, trying to figure out how we save, because right now, if everything goes in here and it's voted, that raises our taxes $1.48 per thousand. between the Article 3, the operating budget, and all of these other articles. So I'm trying to figure out, I know that the surplus doesn't spend it, but if you use the surplus for something else, it cuts back on increase in taxes.
Okay, if we could try to keep
Well-
it focused, you know, I.
Well, that is the
understand-
focus is on,
Yeah,
the focus
yeah,
is
but
on
we're-
this
we're here-
question.
We're here to vote on warrant articles. Getting us sidetracked into discussions of the overall tax impact is more properly something for the public hearing on Saturday versus here where we should be focused on just this particular warrant article.
Just
Yes,
quick,
Mr. Stewart.
I think what you're asking is, the fund that, this 50,000 we're putting to one side, and then we also have a budget. Is that what you're saying? The budget is for the day-to-day grind things that the school goes through, breaks, uses, has to replace. This one is for, okay, we did the 3-phase roof plan over the course of 3 years, came out of this. The oil tank removal that was buried underground came out of this. Last year, when we had to dig up all the pipes to get the oil tanks to the furnaces, that was into this. It was totally separate from what that day-to-day grind stuff is.
No, I understand that. I understand that. I'm only looking at because there's still a pretty good chunk of change left.
Yeah. I'm on the facilities committee, I'm just as confused as you are sometimes on this stuff.
Mr. Brown.
Just going to add to that, in addition to the, into the culvert, there is, I believe, a drainage program at the rear high school parking lot. And in addition, because I know there's
a lot of maintenance.
water travels there.
Water runs down the parking lot at the high
Yeah.
school.
And also the encapsulation program of reciting for the SAU building itself.
Correct, for the lead paint on the SAU.
Okay.
All right.
All right, any other?
Thank you.
Any other concerns, comments about Article 10? Okay, can we, I see no other hands. Can we have a roll call from my left?
Aye.
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 Yes.
Yes.
And chair votes aye. We have another one, 7-0. We're on a roll. All right, and article number 11 looks like it is another money article. Let's see if I can screw this up again here. Article 11. There we go. I managed to not mess it up. Okay. To avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2020, and raise and appropriate up to the sum of $15,000 to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the school bus trust fund established in 1993. Note, warrant article 11 will not result in additional taxation. The school board recommended it 5-0. And may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Article 11.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on Article 11?
Can I give you some information?
Yes, sir, Mr. Shute.
I think we had, what, was it 15,000 in that fund? Sorry? 17, I'm sorry. We're gonna put this amount, with this amount, and buy that van, because we're down to one van. And if we put a maintenance agreement on that van, it's gonna be $3,000, so that'll be, yeah,
50,000 off,
yeah, it'll be 3,000. $30,000 for that van.
Okay, so this combined with money you've already got in there, you're expected will be enough to pay for the
Yes,
the van?
correct. So it's-
With the maintenance agreement, correct?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
all right. Mr. Wood?
If you have a plan for this money, as you just noted, right, you have 17 grand, you're gonna allocate out of the operating budget? Is that what I heard?
No,
No, in the
it's-
reserve.
Capital
Oh,
reserve.
it's already in the
Right.
reserve.
It should
Okay,
be
okay.
in your yellow book, it should be in there.
But and the
But we get the
15,000 is that specific number is because your intention is to combine with the 17 to buy a van.
Yes.
Yes.
Should that not be part of the warrant article? If you're asking for 15,000 to
Well,
be,
no, we can put that in the trust fund. We are agents to expend it, so we can do it.
okay.
That's all.
You don't think it should go in there just,
Go in.
We ran it by the attorney, okay?
okay, all right.
All right.
If it would, it would
I
be
just-
one for the van, right? I think it's.
Yeah.
it's Put
The-
monies in the trust fund for the purpose of buying transportation.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Didn't you also have money in your budget for a van though?
Yes.
Good, which you got.
Which was basically taken out.
Okay, so it was taken back
Good
out?
catch, but you took it out.
Okay,
See,
just making sure we took it
That
out.
was my fault.
Okay.
But
Thank you,
he's
Tammy.
addressing the concern I had here, which is I you know, of having, buying vehicles on warrant articles versus building
Yep.
them into the budget.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. So make sure that
that's
came
what,
back
that's
out.
what this is
All
on,
right.
yep. So, yeah. Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns? Not seeing any. Roll call from my left.
Left. Aye.
Right.
Aye.
I'm gonna vote no.
Yes.
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 And chair votes yes, so that sounds like it's a 6-1. Okay, and let's see, moving on. Hey, we're making time here. Let's move that one up a little bit higher. Okay, are we almost to the end? I hesitate to ask.
School.
Yeah. Okay, Article number 12. To avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1, 2020, and raise and appropriate up to the sum of $10,000 from that source to be placed in the Milton School District Technology Expendable Trust Fund, established in 2007. Note, warrant Article 12 will not result in additional taxation. The school board recommended it 5-0.
I'll make a motion to approve Article number 12.
Second. And second for discussion. Any discussion? Uh-oh, is everybody getting tired?
How much is in this fund?
$4,301.70, actually $4,719, but we just approved to spend
4,000.
4,000 of it. The computers are getting old and they need to be replaced. So basically, we have $700 left in the technology fund.
How many computers? I'm sorry.
Oh, I got somebody in the back first. Yes.
Is this hardware, software, or PD?
PD.
Professional development.
Oh,
Teachers.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, we've been buying hardware, laptops for the students and for faculty.
Yes, yes.
It encumbers all of it, hardware and software.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr.
But
Woods?
primarily we purchase it for the computer.
Okay. Yep.
So it's hard,
How,
can I just ask a
Oh,
follow-up
yep.
to that question? So you're purchasing additional hardware on a basis of what's your cycle for replacing machines?
I don't have that from last year, but I want to say it might have been 5 years
5 years, yeah.
5 years, and you have contracts on those, service contracts on those?
through Back Bay. Yes, yep.
So none of this money goes towards professional development for teacher
No.
training on software?
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Yes, yes, or Nate?
Typically, any PD is either out of the operating budget, but a lot of it is out of grants, Title II.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I knew it was.
Hey, Mr. Woods, quick.
how many computers are we talking about? Anybody got any idea?
Come on, Nathan. We've done this before.
And why I'm bringing it up is that have you looked into leasing the computers?
We have.
And is it more costly? I mean, is that why we're not doing it? Because it appears, and it should be, that what the need is the technology refresh, because these computers get old quick, right? I mean, 2 to 3 years they're obsolete, right? What industry does is it forms an agreement, a lease agreement with HP, Dell, whoever you, and it's typically a lot less costly, and you guarantee that technology refresh, which I think is what you guys are after, so that the kids have the right technology at the right time. If we're holding on to computers that are 5 years old and then spending cash up front to buy this equipment, I think you might want to look at that plan a little again. Because I also think that the plans, the maintenance plans that you're paying on this older equipment is much more costly as well. So
I can touch on it lightly because it was 2 to 3 years ago now we did this. We were back then replacing computers in the elementary school that were from 2007. And there was 2015, 16, 17, we were doing this. And we looked into the lease side of it, we looked at the purchase side of the house. And as far as when we did all these computers, I think we bought we bought, was it like a series of like 100
It was,
at a time?
it was hundreds.
It was
I
hundreds
wanna
of
say-
computers at a time.
You were looking at MacBooks though, I remember this
They
when
were-
you
We had a
were.
combination.
It was a
of
combination.
Mac and Windows based. And it ended up being, I mean, we went with what the cheaper one was, which was the purchase outright at the time. And then get them on a cycle of replacement every year, go by the oldest, there's a whole spreadsheet of where the oldest
Right.
computer is in the building. Those
But
top
tell 'em-
30 are the ones we're gonna replace this year, that kind of thing.
Nick?
The last batch we purchased was within the last couple of years. It was I want to say it was over 100, maybe 150. We bought out of grants, and that was 2 years ago.
That's where those grants.
Yeah. Well, that was the high school through that grant.
That specific grant was the high
Right.
school, yes.
And then any that were still working well,
We recycled.
recycled down.
We gave them to
Yeah.
Does the,
grant.
does the grant say that you can only purchase, or is it just a block of money?
It was a block of money. I don't
Yeah,
remember
I don't
the.
know the answer on the top of my head.
Yeah, because it's like about a 20-page, 25-page
You wanna-
grant
you
with
wanna
all
chime
sorts
in,
of
no?
stipulations.
I know we leased all of our stuff, that's
Yeah,
all I
it
know.
just-
And
it
it
makes-
turns out to be cheaper in the long run for what we were doing, but that doesn't mean it will
Yeah,
be for the
yeah.
school based on the numbers, so.
Nick?
Our technology plan is coming up, so all of this will be looked at again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions, concerns, comments on Article 12? And not seeing any hands, even they're obscured by the podium. I'll take a roll call from my left, Mr. Brown.
I'm still had a question, but
Oh,
it's.
okay, well, ask your question. I didn't see a hand.
No, it's all right. Bring it up in another context. Aye.
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 Yes.
Yes.
And chair votes aye. Oh, how about that? We got another unanimous. And with that, we conclude the school board portion of our evening. So, yes, Mr. Brown.
I move a 5-minute recess.
Aye.
I'll second that.
And all those in favor of a 5-minute recess?
Aye.
And chair votes aye.
May we have a roll call vote, please?
Hello? I'll take a recess. I gotta figure out a computer over here. Man, you know what I'm doing?
Dennis. Yes.
Yes. Aye.
No,
Left.
Lisa.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, be careful, we're being recorded again. Okay, and now we're gonna start talking about the town warrant articles. And again, this is the Budget Committee voting on whether or not we approve or disapprove of said warrant articles. Yes?
I have a question just leading right in. Is it possible if you vote no to explain why? Because I think that would be much more helpful to the voters than just a no. Like, I know there was one where I think on the school budget where some people voted no because they thought it was too low, and some people voted no because they thought it was too high. And as a voter, just the yes, no is not as useful as a brief explanation.
We can, I would prefer to do that at Saturday's meeting, which is the public hearing.
Yes.
For one thing, it's a wider audience, and it's 8 o'clock now, and but I'm certain any members would be more than willing to chat with you afterwards if you had a specific question. I'm not telling them they have to, but I understand what you're saying, and I understand. Okay, so, wrong mouse, wake it up. Okay, Article 2, operating budget. And you'll notice that the Board of Selectmen have not voted on these yet, or at least the version I've got, they haven't. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget $4,562,047, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations. Voted separately, the amount set forth in the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $4,511,798, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law. Or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13X and XVI to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only, majority vote required. The estimated tax impact of the operating budget is $7.68 per thousand. Estimated tax impact of the proposed default is $7.58 per thousand. Did I say the right rate? $7.68 for the proposed and $7.58 for the default. Mr. Brown.
I move to recommend as written.
Second.
And I think Humphrey beat Peg.
Yep.
Okay, do we have any? Mr. Woods.
Oh,
You already got to do things.
Mr. Woods.
Andy, what's the current impact? Current budget impact?
It's the same.
The difference is roughly 53 cents per thousand if the operating budget is approved over what our current,
yeah.
over our current rate. Or the difference for the default is, I want to say, 47 cents per thousand.
Yeah, I mean, it's more or less the same. I mean, unfortunately, we haven't, we're gonna be doing it next Wednesday, but it doesn't move it much.
Yeah, and that's according to the tax rate impact worksheet that got sent out with it.
Okay. It's just putting something like this on the bell without explanation or where are we today kind of thing.
Yep.
Scares the hell out of me.
And if I could, I sent the email back to Ernie saying that it would be, you should explain that it's not adding $7.68.
No.
But I'm saying by putting, this is the first time we've had it done this way. The reason I said back to him, I says, let's get what the current one is so you can show what the current one is and what the new one will be. We know we reduced the budget, and the tax rate went down, so the impact per thousand will be lower, not higher.
Right.
But he needs to be able to explain that.
Mr. Brown.
For the information, DRA now has a complete review of all tax rates for all towns in New Hampshire, and it is, if you go through it, it can be broken out as opposed to broken down by what portion of the tax goes to county, to state ed, to township. So anybody who's interested in what other people are doing, as for example Claremont, where it's about $46, or Newcastle, where it's probably down under $9, I haven't checked, but that's the range of figures.
Okay, any other questions, comments about this? Ms. Hurd?
Was this the 4,562,047? Was that what we had come up with in our final number?
Yes.
Okay,
That was the budget committee's
all right.
recommendation.
That's our
Because I couldn't,
Okay,
no, that's
could
it.
not remember the
All right.
exact number.
any other questions, audience? Okay, I'll take a roll call from my left.
Aye.
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 Yes.
Yes.
And chair votes aye. Hey, we got a unanimous one. We're starting out good. And that was article number 2. Okay, article number 3. Let's see if I can screw this up again. There it is. All right. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $89,760 to be added to the Milton Police Department General Operating Budget to fund a school resource officer. This sum will be for half a year for 2020 and will then become a full year position in 2021 and will become a new line in the Police Department General Operating Budget. This sum will be for salary, FICA, retirement, Medicare, workman's comp, and insurance costs. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 18 cents per thousand.
I'll move to
And
approve
Peg made a
Article 3.
motion,
Second.
and Mr. Brown seconds. Do you have any discussion?
Just
Counselor?
so they can see, there is actually a note that if you move your mouse to it, right there where it says Article 3, it explains this a little bit clearer. Somebody might be able to, okay?
Oh, was that what that little thing is?
I know, but, well, I'll read it out if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it says, by calling this out separately, note that this money can only be used for a school resource officer. It can't be moved around in the budget for some other purpose. Also, by separating this out, it would not be included in the default budget for 2021. But if the 2021 town meeting adopts the OB, this is, yep, that's good, move my mouse. Adopts the OB with this new line item in it, then it would be included in the default budget going forward after 2021. RSA 4013 9.A, operating budget is used in this subdivision means budget as defined in RSA 32:3, Section 3, exclusive of special warrant articles as defined in the RSA. So,
All right, and we'll bring that up. Okay, do we have any? Yes.
And this is on the town side and not the school side because,
goes to the,
The explanation we had last year was it comes out of taxpayer funds, and it's easier rather than, because he'll be, when school's in session, assigned to the school, when school's not in session, assigned to the town, and the police chief thought it was easier to simply include it in his budget than try to split it up and keep track of he's getting paid from here, then they're here, then. So that's why it was included in the police department budget.
and it's typically in other school districts or in other towns, this is typical?
I cannot
Yes.
comment
it is,
on
it
that.
is today, it is today.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Brown?
Oh, there's just the same phrase, clarity of administrative control.
No, he's right.
He's right.
Thank you, Larry.
That sums it up.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry.
Any?
Write that down.
Larry summed it up.
Wow.
Okay, any other did I see a hand? You sure? Come on, ask a question. Okay. All right, okay, any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a vote from my left.
Aye.
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 Yes.
No.
Yes.
And chair votes yes. And we broke our streak. We are now 6-1 for number 3. Okay, and number 4. Let's see, go over here. Scroll down a little bit. Oh, contingency fund. And yeah, you can almost read all of that on the screen now. Okay, to see if the town will vote to establish a contingency fund for the current year for unanticipated expenses that may arise, and further to raise and appropriate $41,166 to go into the fund, in accordance with RSA 31:98-A, which reads, every town annually by an article separate from the budget and all other articles in the warrant may establish a contingency fund to meet the cost of unanticipated expenses that may arise during the year. Such fund shall not exceed 1% of the amount appropriated by the town for town purposes during the preceding year, excluding capital expenditures and the amortization of debt. A detailed report of all expenditures from the contingency fund shall be made annually by the selectmen and published with their report. Any appropriation left in the fund at the end of the year will lapse to the general fund. This appropriation will be funded by transfer from the unassigned fund balance, and no additional amount will be raised by taxation. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 0. Do I have a motion? Mr. Brown?
Recommend to approve as written.
And Peg, I saw your hand first. Okay, any discussion? You misheard.
There's a typo in there. I finally found it.
Okay.
I know. He just lost 50 cents because I told him I couldn't find it again. Such fund shall not exceed should be 1% of the amount appropriated. Sorry.
Okay. And I'm going to guess I did not read it as on percent, did I?
No, you said 1.
That's because that's what it's
But
supposed to be.
I'm following, it's like, that's where it was.
Okay. All right. Any other yes, Miss Herb?
I do have another question. Andy, maybe you can answer this. I know the town can, what's the word I'm thinking of? At the end of the year, encumber. Thank you. It's like, why would I not remember that word? If you know things are coming up,
Yeah, but
how is this different from being able to encumber money?
because encumbering something is, you're anticipating, you have either, you have a bill, or you have, a contract, something in that nature. This is a little different. This is where, unfortunately, we lose the furnace in the town hall. We wouldn't be able to, this is what this funds would be used for. Encumbering, is something.
For something you have to spend,
Yeah.
and this is unanticipated.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know that we looked into this through the school board, because we can do it too, and because we have to give back the money and we can't keep any of it, this was kind of to us, maybe this would not be a bad idea for us, so that we could keep some of the money, but
Except-
we can't.
Yeah, in this case, it goes back at the end of the year. If they don't use it, it goes back into the general fund, and they would.
The following year,
presumably-
right.
Yeah, presumably, well, at the end of the year, I think.
I would think
Was
it'd
it
be the
following
same
year?
for the school. It goes back at the end of the year.
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Well, yeah, we would
So-
have a year, so starting July 1st, if the voters approved it, starting July 1st when our fiscal year
Yeah.
starts.
You'd have.
If we had $50,000 left that we were planning on giving back to the town, we could keep 1% of that. Or we could actually, I think ours was like $10 billion. But anyway, we'd be able to keep it through that following
Up
year.
to the end of June the
Yeah.
following year because of your
Right.
fiscal year.
I think
Right.
so. That'd be, Mr. Shute.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's a win-win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's really just for emergency purposes.
Yeah. Now,
So if it goes back, then we haven't lost
And then
it.
you're not taxed up front.
My,
either, is there?
my only question is, there is a line item in the budget for unanticipated expenses.
Yeah.
How does this play in with that?
Thank you.
Are they used for similar purposes? Would we?
I want to say that I'm not 100%, but I think the town administrator took that out of his budget.
Okay, I think it was lowered. I don't remember if it was taken out.
I can go back and look.
But okay,
I-
but it would. But if it was still there, would it be similar expenses that it would be used for?
Yeah, almost
Okay,
definitely.
All right. And in this article, I did not see who was eligible to expend from it, or is that?
Well, I'm sure it's selectmen.
I see report made.
It doesn't say.
You're
It
right.
do- I don't know if it has to. I mean, this has been approved by the attorney and I believe DRA already.
Yeah, I'm
But-
sure we're the expended agents.
Because usually it says who the
Usually
Right,
expending
right.
agent is.
I mean, I can run it by
I just,
Ernie tomorrow.
yeah,
and-
just double check with him.
Yeah.
Just, because it's not gonna, I mean, we're worried about the money aspect of it, not necessarily who the expending agent is. But, okay, any other comments or questions?
By the way, to go back to it, it was $1 left in the building maintenance and ground maintenance under the administrator, but that is just, that was the one area that they had under.
There was a line for specifically called that unanticipated expenses.
That was taken out.
Oh, are you saying it was under building maintenance?
Well, under the administrator, which
Okay.
would be under Ernie's area, the town administrator, that's where that came in.
Nick?
It's contingency and bonding, I believe.
That's what I'm trying to find. Yeah, there is a contingency, right?
Okay, yeah, I think you're right, that's where it's at, yeah.
Kind of in that area.
Yeah. But, okay, I don't know that it's important, I'm just curious as to,
Yeah,
Mr.
it's more
Shute.
specific under,
Will
yeah.
that, Andy, will that be enough for the year?
That's the
Yeah, I mean-
1%, you can't do anything
Can't do
else. I mean,
anything else.
it's
That's all
it's
they
yeah,
can
that's
do.
all they can.
mandated, right?
Yeah.
But remember, this is for the unanticipated, if this building were to burn down, you got insurance to cover it, but what's the cost of your deductible? That's where you can come out of this contingency fund then, Yes.
More than double what we've historically had in budget.
Correct, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, it's been 20,000, but
Okay, and I'll take a roll call from my left.
Aye.
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 Yes.
yes.
And chair votes aye. We are unanimous on number 4. All right, and going down to, number 5, it's sort of a money article, but it kind of isn't.
I don't know.
No, it is.
It is, okay. Optional tax credit for service-connected disability. Shall the town vote to adopt RSA 72:35 I-A for an optional tax credit of $2,500 on residential property for a service-connected total 100% disability on residential property occupied as the principal place of abode by the disabled person or the surviving spouse. The optional tax credit for service-connected total disability shall replace the standard tax credit in its entirety and shall not be in addition thereto. Majority vote required. The tax impact is 10 cents per thousand.
I'll make a motion to accept it as written.
I'll second it.
And Peg seconds. Humphrey and Peg. Mr. Brown.
Discussion. Do you have any information that this is income tied?
No, I can't speak for it. Like I said, we haven't gone over these yet, but I do support this warrant article, I will say that.
Historically, the municipal and county governments had this question come to it, and both sides of the aisle had concerns that it was not an item tied to need, and if it is meant to be a tip of the hat, there should be a more careful discussion.
Okay. Any other? Yes, Ms. Hurd.
Not knowing, how many totally disabled people there are in town, where did the 10 cents per thousand come up?
Well, I think they're using it on people who get a discount today, because they're using what people are getting in the discount, the number of people that the town is giving a discount.
Well, I know that service people do get a discount,
Mhm.
but how many of them are disabled?
Well-
I guess, it's
That's where I'm
kind of
going
a,
I can tell you that Kathy has the information. Kathy has information on the service-connected disability. I'm one that she's got information on, okay? I'm not 100% disabled.
I was
but
gonna
I'm a
say,
disabled-
you don't
No,
look
but I'm a
like-
disabled
yeah.
vet too. But, so I know she's got that information, and I'm assuming based on the fact that they came up with this, that she understands the population,
okay.
the rough population on what, because that 10 cents is going to come out to about $50,000,
And
is what the projection.
Yeah, I
would
mean,
be.
she's used, last year's, people who have gotten tax credits from last year. This is how she came up with all this.
Right, and as I totally understand, I
Yeah.
mean, because I do know some people who are getting the service tax credit, but, I mean, how many are 100%
That
disabled?
sounds like it's about 20 people. is what
I
that
think
amounts to.
the answer is we don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To be honest, we don't know how many people there are. We don't know how they came up with that number.
Thank you.
So, All right, Mr. Brown, you have your hand up?
Same thing, I raised the point because it's important to have the information. And in a very serious side comment, suicide is one of the greatest causes of veterans' deaths in the United States right now.
All right, any other?
Aye.
Any other comment? No other hands? Mr. Brown already voted aye. Ms. Hurd?
Aye.
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 Yes.
Yes.
And chair votes aye. That's another one. Hey, we're on a roll again. 7-0. Number 5. All right. And number 6. Stratford Regional Planning Commission membership dues. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,764 and to authorize the town of Milton, Selectman Administrator Planner, to pay said sum to the Stratford Regional Planning Commission as dues for its fiscal year July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, and thereafter to place the annual dues as may be adjusted from time to time into town operating budget. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 1 cent per thousand. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Pegg. Second?
I'll second.
And Ms. Smith seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Woods?
I have the same issue with this one as I did with the school board's one. Now, we don't know if the information is correct, but I was looking at the expenditure report that came out after the first of the year. So assuming that expenditure report is correct, the amount of money that the town's giving back from that budget is
Well, this was
substantial.
This was in the operating budget. We've
Okay.
taken it out of it.
And why did we do that?
It's just,
Are we just looking for permission from the people to put it back in? If that's the case, that's fine.
let me
but-
tell you something, this 5,000 will recoup, we will recoup our money 10
Understood.
times fold.
That's why I'm not thinking it's a no-brainer, and why are we increasing the taxes for it when
Yeah.
we're giving back money to the general fund?
Mr. Brown?
It's just, it's the
once
way, go ahead.
Once upon a time, I was the chair of the Stratford Regional Planning Executive Board. At that time, Dover was paying $18,000 in per capita dues. They bailed because they felt that with their in-house planners, they could recoup the cost of their dues. One of their in-house planners was Bruce Woodruff. The per capita dues, I do not think will come back to us tenfold, because we are bringing the GIS system in-house, and we have the very capable service of the town planner that we're paying for directly. And Bruce works efficiently. He works to his detriment off the books, and I'm not certain that the $5,700, even though a small cost, ...
Mr. Humphrey?
I'm in favor of the Stratford Regional Planning Commission, but I thought when we put back the New Hampshire Municipal Association money, that was going to cover that. I'm saying, I thought we had both of them in there at that point in time. That's the reason I'm saying. I know there's two separate organizations, but I thought we had put something back in there.
I remember that there
I only
was
found the one.
discussion about that, and
Yeah.
they took it out to put it on a warrant.
It is-
to break it up
and it
make
is
separate.
removed
Yeah.
because it's just the New
Yeah.
Hampshire
Yeah,
Municipal.
I remember there being discussion about that.
Yeah, we did.
And, I don't have an answer for Humphrey's question as to why not take it out of the, if we know we're gonna pay it out of the
I would
the
have thought of it.
the extras or surpluses from the budget. Don't have an answer for that. Okay, that's Ms. Hurd.
I don't know if this can be done, but since we do have questions on things and nobody is here to answer them, is there any way that we can table one of these warrant articles until...
We're presenting the, we have a public hearing on Saturday. We don't have time to notice a meeting to come together and vote between now and then.
However, these minutes can go to the particular attention of the selectmen, so that you have a heads up for questions that may come from the audience.
Okay, all right.
And
Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
just know
answer
that,
for
I just know that the town administrator has taken this out of,
Yeah.
out of his operating budget and put it onto a warrant article. So,
And again, it has reduced this year, the operating budget by, the request by $3,700, so. Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns? I see no hands, starting from my left.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
6520262.
Yes.
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 And chair votes yes, looks like we broke our streak, it is 6-1.
I'm sorry, what?
And that was number 6.
6520262.
Okay, number 7 is highway and road construction. This is we see this every year, not for quite as much money, but highway and road construction. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $350,000 for the purpose of highway and road construction, maintenance, repairs, repaving, and reconstruction of Class 4 and Class 5 highways, also known as IV and V. Said amount will be partially offset by revenues from the New Hampshire Highway Block Grant, estimated to be $134,000. This will be a non-lapsing appropriation per RSA 32:7 VI and will not lapse until the roadwork is completed for the 2020-2021 period as determined by the Public Works Director or his designee or by December 31st, 2021, whichever occurs first. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 71 cents per thousand.
I'll make a motion to accept as written.
Second?
And Peg seconds. Any discussion on the highway road construction article? And not, yes, Mr. Woods.
So the 71 cents, is that, I mean, are we looking at the 350 minus the 134, and that's the 71 cents?
71 cents is
That
350.
impact?
Yeah, it's
What,
now
the
20
three-
cents, it's now 20 cents per $100,000 based on the new tax rates. So
Okay.
the 70 cents represents the
The 350?
350.
Yeah. But really, the tax would be 51 cents
Because it gets offset by
because it gets
Yeah.
offset
Well,
by.
that was my question.
Okay.
So it's really of the it's, the tax impact
difference.
is the difference between those two numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
But
It
they,
would
I
be-
believe they have to show what it is because the
Yeah,
grant's
it's on what,
something.
yeah, because you have to.
I know.
It's,
Because the grant, even though they know it's supposed to be coming, is not a guarantee.
One more gross budget.
Yeah.
okay.
Go ahead.
No, I wasn't done.
I'm
You
trying to
guys
get the
just
point.
interrupted me, that's all. Don't we think that it would make more sense to provide a little more information? I mean, we did that with the school. The school had little notes at the bottom and so forth. I mean, if people look at that, say, what if their threshold is, 55 cents, right?
If I
Go
might,
ahead.
so last year, what we ended up doing was, that's in the book. That's the town's gonna put out for the deliberative session,
Yeah.
correct? So the explanation on these usually comes out in that book.
Okay, I'm good. All right.
All right, any other questions, concerns, comments? And I'll take roll call from my left.
Aye.
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 Yes.
Yes.
And chair votes aye. We are back unanimous again. 7-0 on number 7. Okay, going to.
No, oh,
All right, going to number 8. See if we can bring that up on our screen here. And by the way, those that are interested, that is a brand new projector that the town got, and it looks pretty nice compared to the other one.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey,
Yeah, I prefer a little
writing on
different
a
aspect.
chalkboard would've looked better than
Yeah,
the
well,
last one, so.
I don't know, but you haven't seen my handwriting. Okay.
That's why being cheap doesn't always help.
Back to Article 8. Fire Department Equipment and Apparatus Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $40,000 to be added to the Milton Fire Department Equipment and Apparatus Capital Reserve Fund, previously established for the purpose of funding future capital expenditures as described in the recommended 2020-2025 Capital Improvements Program, with adjustments made for capital items alternatively funded. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 8 cents per thousand.
I'll make a motion to accept as written.
Second?
Second.
I think Peg beat you there, Mr. Brown. Any discussion on Article number 8? And seeing no hand, I wasn't quick enough. Ms. Hurd.
What's the balance in it now? Do you know, Nick?
Yeah. About 80,000 once we
80 or 8? 80.
80. About
Okay.
80.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Woods.
Is there any other funding source than raising taxes?
Yeah, take it from the fund balance if we used it.
Okay. Well, what, our tax rate's already gone up by the amount in the fund balance. Right? We agree? So why would we ask for another 8 cents on the tax rate for this money?
I think there's concern that the fund balance is getting used too much.
As long as we're maintaining the, what is it up to now, 18%, Andy?
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're up in that 18%, and the last time we checked on it, we were way up, we were up there quite a bit. That's,
It's all on how the planning board too, you know.
Well, it's up to the selectmen, really.
Well, it is,
I
but
think that's been the recommendation and the direction that they were pushed from the planning board and the town administrator, so.
What's
I
the
agree with
18%?
you, so.
yeah, I can't go along with something that can be paid for with money that's already affected the tax rate by increasing the tax rate. Doesn't make sense to me.
All right. Is there,
What's this 18% you just referred to? To which you just referred?
The state recommendation for
Fund balance.
the fund balance.
Oh, okay.
versus
Okay.
the budget?
Right.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
any other, did I say hand? No, maybe not. No hands behind the podium. Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns on article number 8? Yes, sir, Mr. Nick?
I would get clarification on that because the one below it says it, and I don't know how it was determined which ones were not going to be funded from the fund balance.
Yep.
So I don't know if that was left off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a,
No, and if I may, because
Yep.
Nick's right, that's how it was funded, how it was been funded
It was
in the past. It was
75
done the same way as the
$75,000.
highway capital reserve. I don't understand the 8 cents.
Yep.
I mean, we need the fund we need the money because you gotta have it in there, but I'm surprised it's not under surplus like it has been in the past.
Right.
and
Yeah, all the
it may
others
be
are.
when these were written, they did not know what they were gonna have. I'm throwing it out there, bottom line is, we don't know why it's done the way it is. That's the
Okay,
bottom
but
line. So-
we're voting on doing it
As
as written.
written.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
I know. And that's
Yep.
why I asked if we could
Yeah.
hold off, but
Yeah.
Okay, and had we been able to get these a little bit earlier, we could have looked at them and asked our questions, but we didn't, so,
Mhm.
or, this is the road we got to hoe.
But,
Okay.
I mean, these can be changed. This can be changed.
Yeah, well, we got
This
a
one
public
should, yeah.
hearing on Saturday, that
Yep.
it can be changed at the deliberative session, you know, so.
But
I think you can change funding at the deliberative session.
They
I'm
can,
not sure.
well, they can be, yeah, it can be-
Anyway,
the
we're-
wording can be adjusted there too, but if I
We're-
may, again, I think this is one of the ones, because I know the public asked about, you know, this is one of those ones that I think for clarification, I know, as written, I'm not for it. I'm for the fund, but I'm not for charging additional taxes for the
Yeah,
fund. So,
100%.
you know, so that's
So
just
what do we do?
clarification as we vote.
All right, and
So-
yes, sir, Mr. Nick.
My recommendation to actually fund the program in replacing vehicles would be to stick with the 75,000 we've always historically had approved.
Right.
Even though when you actually look at the numbers, it needs to be about 110,000
Right.
annually going in there. So I'm not supportive of it going to 40, but I'm supportive of it passing. So I went along with that number, is
Right.
the backstory behind that.
All right.
We could always all vote abstain.
It still
It's
goes on,
true.
it still goes on the,
Right, but
The warrant
he's correct, rather
Mm-hmm.
than say no, which sounds like you're against it, I agree with that, that's a good possibility, that's a good way to look at it.
well, that's
Yes.
kind of why I asked earlier.
Yeah,
yep,
Just a question, so if you guys vote in favor or against, or recommending it or not recommending it, and then it gets changed,
we would
do you
revote.
then vote again on
Yep.
the change?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
yep. So, I mean, technically, the spelling error that Peg saw, when that gets corrected, we should vote again, because what we voted on was on percent instead of 1%, so.
Sorry.
Which is
that
actually
should be-
technically cheaper.
Yeah. But then the math is wrong.
1/3 less.
Okay, so we've had a little bit of discussion on this one.
Yeah, and I want to just say it's unfortunate because we're kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah,
Because, you know, we haven't, the selectmen haven't,
absolutely, you're right.
you know.
We-
I know.
We are, but we're pressed for time, and I'm sticking away.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? Mr. Brown, do you have a question, or?
Nope.
Mr. Woods, did I see your hand up?
No, I
Okay.
didn't. I
All
was just
right.
scratching my arm.
I'm just checking. Okay, how about a roll call from my left?
And then I will put my mouth where my mouth is. Abstain.
Larry, don't do that. I'm into it, but I'm gonna say yes only because.
Well, I might as well fill in the thing and say no.
Aye.
It's
I'm
really,
abstaining on this one.
I'm going to abstain on this one.
I vote yes.
What?
So, let's see, we've got 3 abstentions,
Change my vote.
2 yeses,
Three-
1
three-
no.
3 yes, 1 no. Make that 4 yeses and 1 no.
No, it's 2 yeses.
2 yeses, 3 yeses, 1 no, 3 abstentions.
that
That adds up
should,
to 7.
that should be enough to point out that we need to discuss this further,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yes, that's the intent.
Yep, that was 313. Yeah, what you got, 313, Sherry? Okay, thank you. That was for number 8. Okay, and again, these will appear on the ballot, or on the at the
The meeting Saturday.
meeting Saturday, and on the deliberative session and so on and so forth. Okay. All right, number 9. The Highway Department Special Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, did I miss? Yeah, no. Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,500 to be added to the Highway Department Special Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, previously established for the purpose of funding future capital expenditures as described in the recommended 2020-2025 capital improvements program, with adjustments made as a result of capital items funded by other means. This appropriation will be funded by transfer from the unassigned fund balance, and no additional amount will be raised by taxation. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 0. Do I have a motion?
Approve
Mr.
as
Brown
presented.
and Mr. Humphrey.
No, sorry.
He beat you, Peg.
I know.
Okay, any discussion on article number, can everybody see number 9 up there? Yes, okay. Any question about number 9?
Yeah.
Any comment, concerns? And seeing.
Yeah, no, actually.
Yep, okay, Humphrey.
Just like, and I want to address it because I know Nick brought it up on his being cut. I noticed this one's been cut quite a bit from last year too. This
Yep.
last year was $49,000. This year's $20,500.
Yes,
So they've cut it.
That might have
they've-
actually been reduced in the CIP though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is this one's
Yeah.
been reduced too. So it's just that I wanted to be
What
clear
happened
that.
on a lot of these is the planning board had recommended a lower amount.
Yeah.
And then because the school projects were funded,
Mm.
the planning board had that cap of $500,000
Okay.
of townwide
Yeah.
and school-wide
Yep.
projects they were recommended because the fire line or whatever else
Yep.
Yeah.
approved from that unanticipated fund.
So they made adjustments. Yeah.
At the town level, we backfed some of these projects that were recommended at lower amounts from the planning board.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's where that, I recommended 75, the planning board recommended
Right, 40.
20, I think.
Yeah.
We put in 40 coming from the town
Yep.
as a recommendation. So there, it doesn't match the CIP 100%, but we kept it capped at the $500,000 that the planning board recommended. So the intent of the planning board is there, but because that money from the school came after, it kind of
Mm.
skewed everything.
Well, I do know that they were capping. We
No,
saw that in the
because
meeting.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it'd
Yep.
be less.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions, concerns, comments? And seeing no hands, no fidgeting, take a roll call from my left.
Aye.
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 Yes.
And chair votes
Both
aye.
ayes.
Chair votes aye, we are unanimous. 7-0 on number 9. And number 10, we can kind of see number 10 up there. I haven't messed this up yet. Yes, sir, Mr. Marie.
There's some sentences on those, so go back up to number 9.
Hmm?
It says, with adjustments made as a result of capital items funded by other means.
Yep.
That was wording that was added upon the recommendation of the town planner when it doesn't match the capital improvements plan 100% because of the
Okay, okay.
Oh, okay.
funding sources.
Oh, okay, so that's why that,
Mm-hmm.
Well, like
Okay.
I got the grant for the air packs. so
Yeah, yep.
That is now
Yep.
worded a little bit differently.
okay.
So-
Yep.
All right, excellent. Okay, any other Yeah, see, I read Article 10, we said we're gonna look at it, right?
Mhm.
Okay, any other comment about Article 10? Concerns, questions?
Article 10, we did.
No, we just
We
finished
haven't
9.
done that.
You
Oh, we haven't
read-
done
you haven't
10
read
yet.
10
Back
yet.
to 9.
Oh, sorry, I went back to 9. I was looking at it on there. Right it in my head. Okay, go back to, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. It's gonna be an even longer day by the time I'm done here. Okay, number 10, Highway Department Vehicle Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $23,000 to be added to the Highway Department Vehicle Fund, previously established for the purposes of funding future capital expenditures as described in the recommended 2020-2025 Capital Improvements Plan Program. This appropriation will be funded by transfer from the unassigned fund balance, and no additional amount will be raised by taxation. Majority vote required. Tax impact is 0. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept as written.
And Mr. Woods beat you there, Mr. Brown. Do we have any discussion on number 10? Ms. Hurd?
Based on what Nick just said, was this a reduction of this one too?
I don't
Yes.
believe the planning board recommended anything on that one.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't believe the planning board recommended funding that at all, so that was an addition based on freed up money from the school.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? And not seeing any hands are fidgeting, I will take roll call from my left. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Yes?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
And chair votes aye on number 10. Hey, we're starting to streak again. All right, 7-0 on number 10.
Don't jinx this.
Okay, the municipal, and in case you're wondering why I'm taking my glasses off when I go to read these here and put them on there, I can't see that with my glasses off there. I can see this with my glasses off here, so. In case anybody's wondering.
We understand.
No, trust me.
What? Wait a minute. Oh, you
Yeah.
want to look at that one up there?
That's why I wear my glasses like this.
Yeah.
Me too.
I do, but it's, they have a tendency to fall off this style. Anyway, on to number 11, Municipal Buildings Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $40,000 to be added to the Municipal Buildings Fund, previously established for the purposes of funding future capital expenditures as described in the recommended 2020-2025 Capital Improvements Program, with adjustments made as a result of capital items funded by other means. This appropriation will be funded by transfer from the unassigned fund balance, and no additional amount will be raised by taxation. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 0.
I'll make a motion to accept as written.
Second.
And I think Peg beat you there, Mr. Dennis. Okay, Miss Peg has her hand up.
All right, this kind of goes to you, Andy. Municipal Buildings Fund, but yet you guys asked for the contingency fund, which, you said was to, if the furnace goes, blah, blah, blah. Is this a duplicate?
No.
Okay,
This-
can you explain,
Yeah,
please?
this is really, trying to put some money away to, move forward someday, maybe with a new DPW building. So this is just really, doing our due diligence on trying to put some money away and not asking for, all at once, a huge amount of money because, DPW has got some serious age on it. And so that's what this one's for.
All right, what's the balance? Do you know?
The balance on this one is like 30,000, approximately. Don't hold my number. Yeah, it's around there.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Humphrey?
Yeah, and if I might, on the other one, this one's specific to the buildings, the other one is under any means. I know Andy used the furnace as an example,
Right.
but I mean, it's on any means. It could be anything from computers to, to something else that might be needed if it's something, an emergent situation.
Mr. Woods? No? Okay.
No.
All right, Mr. Brown?
For those interested, the concrete blocks on the south wall of the town garage vibrate when the door goes up and down. There are structural problems. The building is not going to fall over, but I think it's called fluorosis, in which the calcium starts reaching out of the concrete blocks in the foundation down here. And the roof is also not as young as it used to be. And smart money plans ahead.
Mr.
When
Shute.
I was selected in 1992, we were dealing with that same building with those same issues. So it's been around that long. We need to give it some attention.
Mr. Williams.
The other one too is, this one was adjusted, I know that's, as we've been talking before, this was 50,000, so they have reduced it because of other appropriations.
That was the one
And
I was
this-
referring to, it wasn't recommended by the planning board, I'm not.
Yeah, that was
sure
up.
the one above that one.
The one, yeah, this one, you're right, but this one here, they did make the adjustment, and they
Right.
and
The
they
comment
addressed
is in
it,
there.
yeah.
It did, also because it didn't pass last year,
Right,
so there was the attempt to reduce it to
yep.
try to get something more in that direction.
Thanks, Nick.
But it's important. Nobody should ever have to try to get a building built like that.
All right, you got it. All right, didn't have to give him a quarter.
Thank you, Larry.
And here's your change.
Okay, any other comments on article number 11, municipal building funds? Going once, going twice. Okay, roll call vote from my left.
Aye.
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 And chair votes aye. Hey, I'm not gonna say anything.
Good.
All right, and on to number 12. This would be the Milton Free Public Library Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be placed in the Milton Free Public Library Capital Reserve Fund, previously established for the purpose of funding future capital expenditures as described in the recommended 2020-2025 capital improvements program. This appropriation will be funded by transfer from the unassigned fund balance, and no additional amount will be raised by taxation. Majority vote required. Tax impact is 0.
Make a motion.
And Peg made a motion. Do we have a second? And Humphrey seconded. Do you have any discussion on the free article number 12?
The free article.
I was getting ready to read it all again. I thought I'd just say article 12.
Well, it's
Let's
the
see,
free library,
You're
so.
seeing train of thought here, you know, stream of consciousness talk.
Duly noted.
Phew.
So I'll just make one comment. Essentially, these that don't increase the tax rate but takes the money out of the fund balance, and they're going into capital funds, so it's just security for our future. We're already paying the tax rate. The only thing I think we need to pay attention to is the total number.
Right.
Because if we're not buying down the tax rate with that money, and we're throwing too much into reserve, that's
Thank you.
that's not
Well,
something.
we are buying the tax rate down.
Well, you're buying it down by 225,000.
Right. I just want to make it transparent.
But no, I'm not. I never said that we.
No, I
you
know.
weren't doing it.
I know.
I'm just saying that if it makes a bigger difference to buy it down by 300,000, then let's make sure we don't overdo this by 75K, right?
Yeah.
There's a fine line to walk there, and I think.
No. And I totally agree with you, and it's something that I'm gonna suggest next year. So.
That we give it hell, right?
All right. Mr. Brown.
Feedback from anybody who has a better idea. On a 20-year bond, people who are not in the town yet pay for the cost of something they may use 10 years down the road. Taking it out of tax money that you've already paid, you are the person who benefits by the tax rate not going up to take out a bond next year. Sound close?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, concerns, comments about the article number 12? And I don't see any fidgeting. And roll call from my left.
Yes.
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 Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
And chairman votes aye. We are unanimous on number 12. All right, and let's see, number 13 looks like the Milton Technology Fund. Okay, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,500 to be placed in the Town of Milton Technology Fund, previously established for the purpose of funding future capital expenditures as described in the recommended 2020-2025 Capital Improvements Program. Majority vote required. Tax impact is ½ cent per thousand. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Williams motion, Peg seconded. Any discussion on the technology fund?
Yeah, same,
Yes, sir.
same general discussion. It doesn't make sense to turn around and charge a half a cent when it could be funded, especially a half a cent in this particular case, $2,500.
Yes.
You know?
All right,
I agree with everything. It just doesn't make sense. If we can't find $2,500, which we
Yeah.
always seem to do,
Yeah, I mean, this
Let's
warrant
not-
article's been on, you know, it's every year, and, you know, I mean, hey, I mean, look at it this way, you know, you get to vote on it, do you want it or not? At the end of the day, if you don't want it, don't vote on it. So, it's, I guess it's what's good about living in the town of Milton. You can move to Rochester and you won't have any vote on it, so,
you're looking at me when you say that?
no. Just speaking in
General
general,
comment.
you can have your
He's looking
council.
at me.
If-
It's
if-
okay.
Mr. Williams?
Well, I was gonna say, it has been out there, and it did go through last year, but that's because it was with no taxation. You know, there was no additional taxation,
Yeah.
so it came from surplus money last year.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't the. Ryan Tebow sits on the planning board, so he's the one that you know goes through all these, and so unfortunately, I wish I had more. I don't have all the answers for you. I apologize, but
No, that's okay. This is just to kind of fits the standard mold of
Yeah.
why are we doing this?
If I might ask, do we know how much is in that fund balance, in that fund?
I knew you were going to ask.
He's
I can
been
have
working
the
that
answer for you
phone.
tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay.
Saturday, for the public hearing, it'd be nice to have, in general, for all the funds, because I'm certain the question will come up.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Williams.
Just one last one. Of course, as we're doing this, I understand the reason behind the planning board. Watch the planning board. Their idea was to try to cap this so that we would keep taxes lower, but then we add them back in here, and we nickel and dime it, it's gonna become an issue, so.
I have a good idea, but I don't want to give you the number because it might
Yep.
not be
No, that's fine.
precise,
No,
but I
it's
do
fine.
have it. off
No,
the-
you guys,
Saturday.
that'll happen.
Saturday would
Yeah.
be great.
So if we could have, for all of them, not just this one, but in general. Okay, do we have any other discussion on article number, what are we on, 13? And I'm not seeing any fidgeting or hands, nothing hidden behind the podium. Roll call from my left, Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
That was a no.
Nope.
No, sorry.
No?
That was a no.
Changing your vote?
Yes.
Okay, so we got two
Sorry.
ayes and a no.
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 Yes.
And chair votes yes. That looks like it is 4-3. We're going to streak. All right. And I really don't. All right, I'm having jokes over there. This is serious business. Okay, article number 4, geographic information system. Like, how many more of these do we got?
Too many.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,500 for the purpose of continued upgrades of the public web-based geographic information system for the town as described in the recommended 2020-2025. We'll see you, Mr. Nick. Capital Improvements Program. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is ½ cent per thousand.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
To approve.
And I think Humphrey and Peg beat you there,
Okay.
Mr. Brown. Okay, do we have any questions, discussion on
Discussion.
Mr. Brown?
Not buying this is like building a boat and leaving one of the sideboards out and wondering why it leaks. It is a package deal. You add to it layer by layer.
Yeah.
Any other concerns, comments, questions?
Actually,
Yep.
I was gonna say that
It's
before.
only
Basically the same thing.
Half a cent.
Yep, half a cent per thousand. And no other comment? Okay, I will take roll call from my left, starting with Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Yes.
No on principle.
Yes.
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 And chair votes aye. That looks like it is 6-1 for number 14, was it? That was number 14. All right, and number 15, Milton Bridges Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be placed in the Bridge Capital Reserve Fund previously established for the purpose of funding future capital expenditures as described in the recommended 2020-2025 Capital Improvements Program. with adjustments made by the Board of Selectmen. This appropriation will be funded by transfer from the unassigned fund balance. No additional amount will be raised by taxation. Majority vote required.
Move to approve as written.
Second.
And it looks like Mr. Brown and Ms. Pegg.
All right.
Okay, any discussion on, yes, sir, Mr.
I got
Chief?
two questions in May. It's about this, what bridge is that?
It is,
General bridges.
Just
well,
general?
it's general bridges,
Yeah.
but we have one that's on the red list,
Winding.
Winding, thank you.
Winding Road, yeah.
Oh, but it's not the one between the townhouse? and-
No, that's
No,
all,
that's,
No, we,
that's all,
The,
that's set.
we have all the,
That is set right now, that's not part of this.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, I was got a question about that. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Brown, are
Oh.
you twitching over there?
the, yeah, I believe make like the other one. We have, I believe we have 5 different bridges, 3 of which go into Maine. If not 4, which means we have 6 bridges. There's Thurston that goes over into Farmington, Winding. Then there's New Bridge, which is the one by the by the Milton Garage, which was repaired. Then there's the Townhouse. Then there's Hopper Road, and then there's French Street or Fox's Ridge.
All right. Any other questions about this? Questions, concerns, comments?
it's a good job, Larry.
As noted, this is not specific to the bridge everybody's worried about. This is general bridges in Milton. And no other hands, no other twitching. Roll call from my left, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
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 And chair votes aye, 7-0. We're on a streak again.
And we're on the last one.
Yes.
All right, woohoo. All right, don't say that too loud. We may get started on it again. Okay, article number 16. Bring this up so everybody can see it. Just out of curiosity, those in the audience, can you see that screen okay? Is it big enough for the most part? No, I'm seeing people shaking their head. All right. I think if we had a bigger screen, we could make it larger.
We could make it larger, that can go back.
And
yeah.
I probably could do something with my Acrobat there to make it a little bigger. See what I can do about getting this stuff stuck in a PowerPoint and it could be bigger
But
then.
there's also nobody sitting in the seats right in front of the
Yeah,
screen.
but it'd be
No,
nice
but-
to be able to see it all over.
Back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm just curious before everybody left and I didn't have anybody to ask. I'm
The
gonna-
meeting's
I'm gonna
almost
wake up
over.
here.
Can you
Okay.
see yet?
Article number 16, eradicate invasive species. And noted as not specific to any one particular species. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purposes of eradicating invasive plant species from bodies of water in the town. This is a special warrant article as described in the recommended 2019 to 2024 capital improvements program and will be a non-lapsing appropriation per RSA 32:7 VI and will not lapse until the invasive plant species eradication from bodies of water in town or is completed or by December 31st, 2022, whichever is sooner. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 2 cents per thousand. Do I have a motion?
I make a
Second.
motion, yeah.
And Mr. Williams and Ms. Pegg, any discussion? Mr. Williams?
I will say that I was glad to see this put back on because I know that the planning board had pulled it originally, but this thing is critical. And with what we gotta do to keep the European naiad out of the bodies of water, and there's other areas too, because it is all the bodies of water, because it's also moved past the dam, so they're gonna have to do some additional. It's also on the side of the Townhouse Road that they've actually found it on the other side of the culvert. So there's more areas that have to be hit before anything happens, so.
Ms. Pegg?
Are there others besides the European naiad at this point?
Right now, at this point, that is it. That's all they're finding at this point here in town.
No, that is not
No, I'm
correct.
talking about here. That's what this was.
No, this is invasive species in plant, in water bodies in town.
Okay.
Spalding Pond is a town pond and it has milfoil.
Oh,
No, you're
okay.
right,
All right,
you're right.
good.
You're right. When I
Thank
addressed
you.
it, I'm addressing it in the lake. You're absolutely right.
Because I know last year when this warrant article was submitted, I voted no because Mr. Brown very nicely, the way it was worded, he said, you know, that rose bush you got from your great
It was
grandmother.
originally written as invasive plant
It just-
species, not without
And it's like,
water.
what? And then when it was finally rewritten correctly, I mean, I asked if we could have a revote because I was definitely for it, but
Yeah.
the way it was written, it was like, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
I believe Mr.
Anyway.
Brown was in the meeting with me at the Board of Selectmen when we asked them to add the water. That's what it
Hit
said.
water.
I'll just throw the comment out. I was flabbergasted watching that planning board meeting that this got prioritized, you know.
So low at the time.
So low that it didn't make the cut. It's not something we can do without.
Sorry.
Yep.
Absolutely not something we can do without. Our lakes, our waterways are the key to our success going forward. If we put them in any kind of jeopardy, it's shame on us. Shame on us. So this has got to make it.
All right.
Do we have an update
What-
on what is Lebanon is doing? Are they still contributing? Because I
Yes,
know
they
I went
are.
to a couple
Same
of.
amount of money, they
Okay.
contribute the exact same amount of money. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, because I'm on the board with the Three Ponds, it's split between the Three Ponds Protective Association, Milton, and Lebanon,
Okay.
evenly. All
Because I know
three are
I'd gone
paying.
to a couple of
Yeah.
selectmen's meetings when they came in, and
Yeah.
it was kind of back and forth. But I know a lot of it
And
is
if
on
I
their
could,
side.
because I do want to commend the selectmen are the ones that asked to have this put back on. And-
Good.
and
Well,
that-
actually, I did.
I know
but-
you did,
but
that's what I'm saying, but I'm saying the selectmen
I will
agreed.
not pat myself on the back.
Nope.
What I will say is, you know, the Three Ponds, we all know is, you know, is the economical drive to this town. And it would be behooved, any of us. I mean, just because we don't live on the Three Ponds doesn't mean it's not our responsibility. You know, we generate a lot of tax revenue from the Three Ponds, and it would be ashamed if this wasn't, if this doesn't pass. I know it costs about $50,000 a year for the eradication of the naiad, and you know we need to preserve you know that piece of beauty, and so I have full confidence that this article will pass, and we just need to keep fighting the naiad. So,
Okay, any other?
we had a question.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Mr.
I
Chief.
hadn't heard about this in a long time, so I thought it was dead. I mean, in the sense, gone away.
Mhm.
Can we do some publications or
We
awareness? Warning?
Yeah, we are.
Actually, let me add to that one too.
Okay.
Right now, as a matter of fact, Doug, I'll even send you the latest information that came out from Three Ponds Protective Association. Just to let you know that the treatment areas that were done, it has not come back in those areas. It is
I've never
new
seen a
area,
chart
it is
before.
new areas that they have found some of this. But the problem with naiad is the fact that you can't tell until the water warms up whether or not it's spread. So it's like, and you know, so you have to get on top of it. Because it's brittle, it breaks, it ends up going to seed, and then that can be spread, so.
Maybe you ought to see if we can get some, put it in the school kids' letters and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, because-
that's a great point,
Yep.
Doug, and the Conservation Committee we're gonna put together something in this spring
Yep.
on, you know, some things that we can learn about the lake, on everything about the lake, loons, or whatever, you know, how to boat better, on a naiad. So we're putting that together right now as we speak, and I was actually gonna get a hold of somebody to see if we could get some help getting that onto the purple page. For when this is gonna take place this spring.
We'll do it. Peg and I will.
Absolutely,
I
give it to
appreciate
us.
it.
We'll make sure it goes, because Newt now has a newsletter that goes out too.
I thought it had gone away, and nobody said anything, like this. I thought
But
Well, how did I know it had?
it really springs up in the summer when you can tell if it's spread. It's dormant now, you can't do anything now anyway, so that's why you tend not to hear about it.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments, concerns, questions about, oh, I moved my thing. Looks like we are on number 16. The invasive species in the waterways of Milton. And I'm not seeing anybody twitching, I'm not seeing any hands raised, nobody behind the podium. Okay, I'll take a roll call from my left.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. And before we think we're all done, I think we have one more. That was number 16. That was 7-0. We're on the streak. 16, I believe, way down to the bottom, they talk about
Oh, yeah.
petition warrant articles, tax exemption, and petition warrant article for adoption of a tax cap.
Yep.
While they aren't necessarily sort of money articles, kind of, but they kind of are. Okay, we can add our recommendation as to whether we think. You look curious, Mr. Brown. Do you have a comment, concern?
I'm waiting for the end of your sentence, sir.
I'm getting ready to ask for a motion.
I will make a
number
motion, I will
23.
make a motion to,
23?
yeah,
23.
I will make a motion to go through Article 23 as written at this time.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
No, I
Tammy.
think Ms. Tammy beat you. Okay, and we're open for discussion on Article number 23. Well, I guess I probably should have read it first.
Yeah.
Petition warrant article, optional tax, it's getting late.
It is getting
I've had a long day, I'm gonna have an even longer night. Optional tax exemption, solar, wind-powered wood heating systems, okay. To see if the town will vote to adopt the provisions of RSA 72:61 through RSA 72:72 inclusively, which provide for an optional property tax exemption from the property tax purposes for persons owning real property which is equipped with solar energy systems, wind-powered energy systems, or wood heating energy systems intended for the use at the immediate site. Such property tax exemption shall be in the amount equal to 100% of the assessed value of qualifying equipment under these statutes. Majority vote required. We don't have any idea of the tax impact.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Yeah, you just said it. We have no idea.
I'm not sure I understand.
No, I don't.
What it's trying to say.
Well, I think
If I go install a wood stove in my house, I'll get property tax
Talking about
discount?
outside wood furnaces?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that,
Okay,
Oh.
if I could, Tom, on this
Mr.
one,
Williams?
I'm confused as to why the town's doing this. There are federal deductions for these types of things, so I don't understand why the town is looking to, I don't understand this, why the town's looking to make this a deduction too.
And remember, this is a petition warrant article, so
This
the
is not,
residents.
it's not the town.
Yeah, the
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I don't understand why the town would, I'm only going by, I know the town didn't put it on here. I'm just saying, I don't see why the town would give another exemption when there's already federal exemptions. That's my comment about this.
Have they gone away, though?
Well, they
federal-
sort of have it. Mr.
There's
Brown?
still some, yeah.
As much as they used to be.
What you were saying is all the deficits. In various reading, one of the problems is that this program can be seen as an income rewarding program, in that those who have the money to install get an additional tax credit, which comes from the taxes of people who do not have it. What is missing is any ability to sell the electricity produced at the home site back into the grid, and there's a vicious fight going on as to the upper limits of a home grid energy being sold back into the grid, and Governor Sununu has weighed in on that. Regarding wood and the exterior furnaces, the furnaces on the market, there's only one which I believe is manufactured in Australia, which meets the most stringent EPA 2 regulations for outside wood furnaces. You can see one at over at the farm in Brookfield. Tumbledown Farm has one installed. Those which are in place with down drafts can be hell on your neighbors. So it is something which should go to the town as a study advisory and a recommendation from the town what it wants to do.
I can't speak for the petitioner.
No.
What I can say is that other surrounding communities, such as ours, they pulled this literature from other surrounding towns. So that's where this petition warrant article came from. So it's not like You know, these people just, you know, they got this from some surrounding towns. So, you know, there's towns such as ours that have these
The tax breaks.
tax breaks. Yeah, thanks.
I'm just having a hard time understanding why someone that installs any of these mentioned systems should get a property tax break. I mean, that's more property taxes that I'm gonna have to pay. So, because my neighbor installs a wood furnace, how does that help me in any way, shape, or form? It may help him save on his energy bill, right? But then we're gonna give him a tax break, and then the rest of us are gonna have to pay more taxes, because the tax rate doesn't go down, right? Or the
I think the whole idea behind why this was put out was, you know, people were getting assessed on, you know, solar panels that are sitting on their roofs, and, you know, they think they're being unfairly assessed. You know, Milton doesn't have this particular tax credit, so I don't know. That's the whole idea. I wish I knew more about it, but you know, I didn't put the warrant article on here, so.
No, we realize
No,
it's a
it
petition
does,
article. Yeah.
it does increase your property.
The value
So
of the
you
property.
put solar panels on your house or, you know, wind turbine. It is going to increase the value of your house, so your assessment is gonna go up. Your taxes are obviously gonna go up, and now they're just asking for
compensation, because.
yeah, compensation, but when you go to sell your house, you're gonna sell it for more.
But what's
I know,
next?
and it's not
What's
for you.
next, right? I mean, what's next for, is it fireplaces? We're gonna get, we get
Oh,
assessed
yeah, can we?
more heavily for fireplaces.
But can we get a
I have a
discount?
pellet stove.
No, I'm just not, I don't think
No.
it's,
Okay, all right, so we got questions about it. Do we have any other comments, concerns, anything from the audience? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say along that line, when we built, the state required us to do certain things according to shoreland ordinances.
Right.
And so we made improvements. We went further than we needed to do. But when the assessor came around, he addressed the improvements to our property. And again, I have been taxed for things which in fact provide benefit to the community because it's an environmental improvement.
Right.
And it was mandated by the state, but now I get taxed on it. So obviously it's totally different than solar and whatnot. And I agree with what I heard with respect to that. There's benefits to me, but there are no benefits to the town.
All right, any other questions, concerns, comments from anybody? Okay, remember your choices are yes, no, or abstain. Mr. Brown, starting from my left.
That, I take the abstain. I want more detail.
No.
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 I'm gonna be with Larry. I'm gonna abstain because I just don't know enough about this. So.
And we have, which one was this one? This one was 23. We have 4 noes and 3 abstentions.
Who was the
So
other abstention?
you
Was
absta-
me.
oh,
Didn't-
yeah.
didn't say
Oh,
who.
abstain. Chairman abstains.
You gotta read into him tonight.
Yeah.
It's been a long.
We gotta keep shaking his chair. you know.
I'm done.
Yeah, no.
Okay, and we have one more. The adoption of a tax cap, article number 24. Petition warrant article, adoption of a tax cap. Shall we adopt the provisions of RSA 32:5-B and implement a tax cap whereby the governing body or budget committee shall not submit a recommended budget that increases the amount to be raised by local taxes based on the prior fiscal year's actual amount of local taxes raised by more than the lesser of A, 2%, or B, the percentage by which the Consumer Price Index, all urban consumers for the Northeast, published by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the index as of the month of January of each year increased, if any, over the index for the month of January of the immediately preceding year, 3/5 majority vote required. I'm going to have to look at that in great detail to figure out exactly what that said. Anyway, do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. I'm confused.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
says,
Do you have a second?
but-
I did. Second.
Okay, Humphrey motion, Peg seconded. Do we have any discussion on the tax cap motion or petition? Yes, sir, Mr. Humphrey.
Well, like you said, I mean, you can sit there and read this about every which way, and I understand what the general intent is, but the way it's worded, I'm going. And I really don't see how you can just have that come in and that's it, it's cut. It's capped. I mean, I want to cap it as much as anyone else does too, but I just don't see how this can do that.
Ms. Hurd.
Just thinking about this, I mean, I lived in Massachusetts and there was a, whatever it was, I can't even remember, Proposition 2.5 or something, which was a tax cap. And every town just kept overriding it because they needed to. A default budget, though, a lot of times stuff needs to go into a default budget because it's a contract. So things are allowed to go into a default budget, which may be over the 2% or whatever the index is, which was this year, or 1.6732. So, I mean, I understand what people are trying to do too, but there were just so many things that would make it go over that, in a lot of respects, it can cripple a town, totally cripple a town.
All right, Mr. Brown and then Mr. Shute.
But, yeah, if you go to the tax rates for Rochester and Dover, I think you will find they are both higher than ours, with a tax cap and with all the discussions and back and forth negotiation that is required to get over the tax cap for what Peg called a good cause. And it is the time spent, what you were saying, to calculate what the ramification, the first part compared to the crystallization of the acrid one, and the second part, I think we get better mileage from the budget committee and running the numbers.
Mr. Shute.
I hope my numbers are right, but if you have a $5 million budget, that's only gonna allow you to go up to $100,000 on a $5 million budget with a 2% tax cap.
And that could be eaten up with the
Yeah,
default budget immediately.
You possibly could, yeah.
Yep.
But didn't it mention something in there on the Bureau of Labor?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
It
So
goes by the-
basically, how
Because-
much did that go up? And
Right, 'cause
you-
the Bureau-
by the lesser of the two.
The Bureau of Labor statistics went up to 2.3%.
But it's the difference.
But this is
of
lower.
last
what
year
it
to
is.
this year.
The lesser,
capped at 2.
2% or,
The lesser of the two.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if the
So-
percentage is 1.724364.
Yeah, Mr. Brown.
There's also a difference between what they call the market basket, which is, ideally, pushing down the aisle and taking one of these and one of those for what your expenses of living are, and the actual impact of costs that are not part of the market basket. And also, there's no distinction between the Northeast CPI and the Boston Metropolitan CPI, which is the one that we are on the coattails of.
Right.
So you don't get the costs of energy, you don't get the costs of gasoline as separate from energy and commodities. You're getting, how much is a loaf of bread and a quart of milk?
All right, and Mr. Williams.
The only thing I said, like I said, I commend them for saying they want to cap this because taxes are going, I'm not saying the tax rate, but the taxes are going up. I want it capped as much as anyone else, and we fought to cut the budgets down this year because of that. I just think that this by itself will not be able to do what the budget committee can do with the selectmen and with the with the town administration and the school board administration.
All right.
So,
Any other discussions?
No, I'll just say in closing, I gotta give whoever the petitioner that did this warrant article, you have to give him credit or her credit because the whole reason behind this petition warrant article is we need to start living within our means.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't want my taxes going up any more than anyone else in this room. Because they have gone up in the past, and I haven't been happy about it. So we need to do our due diligence and start, you know, figuring out how we can, you know, run the school and run the town without having. And the CIP is supposed to be helping that with you know, the huge spikes, but we just need to all work together and let's find a happy medium. What's good for everybody. And, you know, we're all grown adults here, and I think, you know, moving forward, we can do it. Just working together as a community. So, I think in closing, you know, I think everybody's done a good job this year, and thanks for all your hard work.
All right, so any other comments on article number 24? I don't see any hands raised, I don't see anybody twitching. Roll call from my left, Mr. Brown.
No.
No?
No.
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 Abstain.
And the chair is going to abstain too, he doesn't have enough information. So that sounds like it's a 0-5-2.
That, yeah, and you beat me on that. I'd be willing to take the abstain, if you can move me back that way.
I should have reminded everybody what the choices were, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's
Maybe?
So we got a 0-4-3.
again, you should be courteous for the work that people put in.
Yep. I think it's, I like the intent. There's just enough that I don't understand about it to be able to vote yea or nay. Same with the petition warrant article before that. Okay, I would like to, we are now done with the town, and that's a good thing that we're done, because I'd have to get up and put in my 50-character password again. We are done with the town warrants. Is there any other business to come before the board? I don't see anybody. Does the public have any questions, concerns, comments?
Thank you.
And I'd like to let everybody know we have a public hearing to discuss the warrant articles and budgets, present them to the people on Saturday. I believe town is at 9 o'clock and school is at 1. So feel free to come out, ask questions, comments, poke fun, do everything but throw stuff at us.
Do you know what the weather's going to be?
I'm going to assume it's going to be good, because the only other choices we have our snow day on Tuesday, and I really don't want to do that.
It's going to be New England.
I'm hoping to
Yeah,
not be
it's-
there.
It's going to be New England.
I thought I saw that
Saturday
we may
into
have
Sunday,
some
that way.
serious weather over the weekend.
Possibly.
That's
I
going to
heard
happen on
Wednesday
Sunday,
night,
it's not going to happen
Thursday.
Saturday, it can't, because we don't want it to.
Because you're busy.
Yeah. So
We're all busy.
somebody else is going to get to do this on Tuesday. Okay, with that, again,
What?
meeting is on Sunday or Saturday, 9 for town, 1 o'clock for the
If
school.
I can on there.
And I'll entertain a motion.
I will make that motion.
Second.
And we got Humphrey and Mr. Brown, all in favor?
Oh,
And chair
Saturday's
votes aye,
supposed to
we are
be
unanimous,
beautiful.
we are done.
Saturday.
Yep,
See y'all
Saturday,
on
no
Saturday.
snow,
Thank you,
Sunday
everybody.
snow.